Hey, Budmaster, what's up? Nemo, how you doing? Ice, is that actually ice? No, that's a fake. Got a fake ice in here. Beep, what's up? Mr. M, long time no see, Mr. M. That's cool. I'm sorry to miss you. Why? You don't watch Twitch? What even is real? Nice, nice. Oh man. Lyric? Okay. That's cool. Well, I'll miss you. Can't please them all. Anyway. Yeah, we had a good time. How are y'all doing? I haven't really had the chance to read the news today. I was doing some work this morning, so. But I did catch a little bit, enough to know that everybody's talking about reopening the country. I'm very excited about that. Edge case. You think? I just need to. I don't know. I think it's an interesting prospect for real. I think for one, I'm interested in trying Twitch just to see what it's like. I've used YouTube. I've used Mixer. Oh, they don't have a date yet. They don't have a date yet for opening, and I don't know. It's just exciting to try something new. You think multi-stream? Well, you're split. Aren't you splitting your? Aren't you splitting your chat? Who's a successful live streamer who multi-streams? So we're just waiting for the briefing to start now. Well, okay. I don't know if Cloud is in here. I'll ask Cloud what he thinks. Huh. It Dex. What's Dex mean, Nemo? Budmaster, you can send Twitch comments to Mixer. Oh, it sucks. I think, yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty set on trying out Twitch. What's the downside of moving to Twitch? That I'll just die. I mean, I'm not, killing it anyway. I have enjoyed the. That's the thing. I kind of want to move while I don't have a huge audience because I don't want to leave a lot of people. It has been cool, sort of building an audience on here, but I feel like I gotta give Twitch a shot, right? It's like the big one. Why not? Ice giving up on Mixer and losing the ability to pull from his community. That's true. She's working. She's got her own work. She might be bi later. I don't know. Lauren, Edge case, yeah. Well, isn't Ice? That's the other thing. I think Ice himself is giving up on Mixer, isn't he? He's moving to YouTube. Everything's up in the air. The whole world is up in the air. See, well, obviously we're not going to open up anytime soon. But, you know, these states, including my state, California, are planning to open, so we'll stick with Mixer, I think, till it gets back on Twitch. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't gotten unbanned from Twitch yet. I mean, he's been pretty good for a while, right? They should have, I feel like they should have some sort of, yo, Pepe, they should have some sort of, rehabilitation program. I think Ice mentioned this before, but right, like if somebody gets banned, they should be able to get themselves back on somehow. Like you should be able to prove yourself worthy. Because people change. A lot of the people on Twitch are young, right? I should debate Destiny? What is there to debate Destiny about? People keep telling me about Destiny. Let me watch Destiny right now while we're waiting for the White House. Is Destiny live now? He is. So he plays. He just plays League. Is that his game? Does he game a lot?
No. Oh, yes.
He talks while he games.
Oh my god, we might kill one.
No.
He doesn't look particularly happy, right? So he's not even talking. People are just watching and talking in his chat, huh? What's Destiny's politics? So, does somebody have a good clip of him that might show what he's like? Right, I've seen the clips of him and Paul.
If we kill Kha'Zix, we gotta kill Kha'Zix here.
Hey! Oh, there's a cat on the table.
Oh, the Ash living with 5 HP again.
I mean, it's just hard.
I can't do this.
He has 2,000 viewers just doing this, huh? Chat link him the amazing debate. What's amazing debate? So he's just like reads the news. I see. Well, he's just hanging out on the internet, huh? Fucking around. This is kind of what I want to do. I see. Yeah, what's his take on the media? I could come in as a New York Times journalist and debate him.
No, I did not watch first room. I do not care. I don't care. Please stop spamming my chat with a question. I didn't watch it. Okay, I think we need to limit the early game tomfoolery. The jungle invades shitter.
A wild and dangerous world.
You will find no justice here.
You are not. No, that's not what I was going to say.
Forrest, like, we're not. I don't think she's the pick right now.
Hey, Melancholy. His audience and Devin Nash are probably Devin Nash. Types of content. A wedding on Twitch? What about it? Yes, I'm getting married to Lauren on Wednesday on Twitch, yes.
Hello, stream. Didn't like what you do on your stream. Staff as well and their growth, their career growth, their personal growth, in order for them to.
Thank you. It's not my birthday, but
Had a single death this league. Ah. Oh, there's steel mates too. I watch
Meta-analysis
your
streamer.
stream.
He just talks about streaming. Does he have a lot of viewers? That's interesting. I would like to just like read my Twitter on stream, but I follow some like NSFW people, so I would be worried about flashing some shit on there. Is my Twitch? I think my Twitch is on iceposeidon.net or iceposeidon.live. This is a different one. I didn't even know that this was a thing. I don't know if my Twitch is on this. Do I want it on here? My Twitch is definitely on this. He streams talking. Yeah, like I think it would be fun. Maybe I should just make a different Twitter account that I don't follow any NSFW. IP2.network has more streamers on it. I didn't even know about this. The thing is, do I want to be on this? Because, like, do I want to attract the Ice Poseidon 2 crowd? Are they still super toxic? I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's better just to fly under the radar. You wouldn't suggest being on IP2? Yeah. I'm good. I didn't even know I was on this one. Trump's late today, huh? Like, I could just go on my... Let's see what's on Twitter. I'll check my other Twitter, but... Is there a way to, like, block photos? I mean, the big thing on me... Yo, Chief CX. The big story among people, maybe I should make this the topic, is Bernie endorsing Biden. You see this? You guys watch this?
we are in a terrible moment, an unprecedented moment. And I know we share the understanding that we've got to go forward right now and out of this in an unprecedented way to address the terrible pain that so many of our fellow Americans are feeling.
That's just how Biden
Today,
looks.
I am asking all Americans, I'm asking every Democrat, I'm asking every independent, I'm asking a lot of Republicans to come together in this campaign to support your candidacy, which I endorse, to make
He's just
certain
like
that we defeat somebody who I believe, and I'm speaking just for myself.
It's like he's surprised or
is the most
something.
dangerous president in the modern history of this country. A president, and you made this point, who downplayed this pandemic, who ignored the advice that some of his people were giving him. A president who apparently has never read the Constitution of the United States, who believes he's above the law. A president who lies all of the time. A president who has
I'm still waiting.
me that he is a racist and a sexist,
Look, we're
and
still
a
waiting.
homophobe and a xenophobe
Let's
and a
see.
religious bigot. I mean, for all of those.
Still waiting. 100,000 people watching. Hey, can you see me? This is just my style. Look, like, you think that's a lot of tabs? You should see me when I'm working. I have like 1,000 tabs open. It's like where it's tiny. Lauren's out working herself. She's got a job. Maybe it's hindering your internet? I don't think so. Mate, your PC dying when you stream. It's not my PC. Swear to God. I have like an awesome fucking state-of-the-art PC. It's just my internet. Yeah, but I think it was just my internet. I paid like $1,500 for this last year. It didn't die. I'm playing Tarkov at full settings. It's not my PC. It's no. LA has shit internet. LA has shitty infrastructure. Break up with girlfriend if she's got a job. She's gonna get the Rona. It's worth it. I don't care. She's got to make money. I'm happy for her. Got a prick. It's this crappy internet right now. Thank you, Countdown. Hankadank. LA is just like, the power goes out in my neighborhood all the time. The water tastes funny. This is just a crumbling city. Hankadank. I don't know what I got to do to prove it, but I have like 8 different things open. You could have a supercomputer. No, it's not my PC. God damn it. I know, you guys would love her to be a Twitch streamer. She'd be very good, but I don't think she wants to do that. Dab Eagle. Jolly Penguins, yes. My neighborhood, there's something weird. The power goes out at least once a month. It's not, and for a long time, for like hours. Moises, what's up? Have I addressed the Lauren's last charity donation thing yet? What Lauren charity donation thing? I think USA should force Cuomo to be president. How do you guys feel about this? How do you guys feel about Bernie? I mean, all the people on my Twitter are talking about it. That's all anybody's talking about. I think the takes that I've seen has been that, one, you can't be surprised that Bernie endorsed Biden because he always said he would. He's, ultimately a politician. He's got to do what he wants. 2, that a lot of his supporters might not come around to Biden, but that it's up to Biden to make the case that Bernie supporters need to support him. And then third, my friend actually wrote an interesting article that I sort of agree with, that Bernie, even though he's not running for president, he should keep his campaign architecture alive and mobilized so that they can work for other kinds of change. You're switching, Dexter Anthem, you're switching from Bernie to Trump? Why? I would never do that. What's the logic behind? There's nothing. The only thing Bernie and Trump have in common is that they're both outsiders. And I mean, Biden sucks. Yes. I'm disinclined to vote for him as well, but I know that when it comes down to it, I'm going to, because you got to. I can't deal with Trump. Accelerationism. Acceleration is bullshit. Accelerationism without building, the capacity to make change is just going to accelerate us into oblivion. Let's see. Trump's still... So, the combo I had with Ice was, what he called, was pretty funny. Jay Smitty, yeah, it was... it was... still working on Lauren about the donations. It's up in the air, but... My face cam? Oh, is it too small? Can't tell if I'm Asian or Native American. Okay. The sound seems a little off. What's wrong with the sound? What's wrong with this? Oh, did I have this on? Is that better? Does that fix it? You're talking about this? Because money. Somebody made this clip out of it.
Adrian's not taking any of the money. So why does it really matter?
What do you mean I'm not taking any of the money?
He's not taking
Somebody did an edit of this. Oh my god.
She doesn't know what she's talking about.
He's not taking the money.
Where was this?
He's not. It doesn't matter what he says.
Who made this? Reveal yourself.
Where does the money go?
The money's gonna go to charity.
If somebody made this,
I don't know. I think it's maybe.
whoever made this has to make a trailer for me moving to Twitch, like a ninja style trailer of like Twitch. Like, I'm taking my talents to Twitch. Wednesday, April 15th. He needs to stop being donated. These are the sound bites. If anybody's watching and wants to do the trailer. Hey, Internet. My name is Adrian Chen. I'm a extremely successful mixer. I'm an extremely successful mixer streamer. But now it's time to grow my career to the next level. That's right, I'm moving to Twitch. I have struck a deal for an undisclosed sum of money and exotic fruits with Twitch management, and I'm now streaming exclusively on Twitch. Hey, what's up? Not a believable line. Imagine if John Jovi's wife said all of the tour money is going to charity. That's what I'm saying.
Adrian's gonna currently do it to fight COVID. Mine goes to SNLPA, which is also fighting COVID in a way, its own way.
Yeah, it's gonna go to charity.
You're giving it to charity. We've been over this. we've gotten in lots of arguments since the beginning about this. Adrian is not taking the money.
Yep, it's going to charity.
You can keep yours, manager. He's giving it away.
Cloud 10 is talking about. We are content, I know. No, she's very good on stream. I mean, the funny thing is that, you know, she's like so awkward about the donations, but she's the one who gets all the donations. She's very good. Dono bait, as somebody said in here. What about this? You designate one stream a month for charity. That's what I'm saying. She's good-hearted, but come on, does she not see value in entertainment? I don't know. It's complicated. There's a lot going on behind that, and maybe we should get into it right now. It's not like I'm making a ton of money anyway, so it's not an issue at the moment. She is a master at getting donos. If she streamed herself, I hope she doesn't, just for her sanity, but if she was streaming herself, I think she would kill it. Alright, we're still waiting. Anybody, are donos taxable? They are. Anybody got a good article that I should read? A good video I should watch while we're waiting? What's going on in the world today? What do I need to know about in the world today? I didn't read the news. I was just working. I was doing some edits on this. You won't like the video. I won't like the video you have? Why? What is it? Withy Chipmunk, what? Try me. How do other streamers do their music? That's my question. How do they automate the music? I have such a janky ass setup. I'm just like so bootleg. Too much truth for me. Okay, let me see.
Why don't you describe for me, as vividly as you can, what it is you're worried about, what it is that the nightmare scenario looks like?
Fortunately, there's very few things, and most of them are very low probability. I rate the chance of a nuclear war in my lifetime as being fairly low. I rate the chance of a widespread epidemic far worse than Ebola in my lifetime is well over 50%. An epidemic that would be more infectious and would spread faster than Ebola did. This is the greatest risk of a huge tragedy. This is the most likely thing by far to kill over 10 million excess people in a year.
Why does everyone love Bill Gates? That's what I'm saying. Because he gave a shitload of money to cure AIDS or whatever. I mean, charity. He's laundering his reputation through charity.
That can come out of the Ebola epidemic. It's that it can serve as a early warning, a wake-up call to get ready.
What is this, some conspiracy
if
shit?
We start now, we can be ready for the next epidemic.
What's the Bill Gates conspiracy? Okay, Event 201. I've heard of this, right? It was like a war game to simulate.
Everybody on planet Earth should see this and send it out to everyone that is out there, so that everybody knows that this was the whole plan that they did back in October, where they had a coronavirus and they anticipated 33 million people dying around the world. So it's the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with the John Hopkins Center for Health Security and the World Economic Forum.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're...
Higher populations. It seeks to control the air. At its core,
This is Agenda 21. This is that bullshit. Wasn't this Glenn Beck was promoting this?
Control of the land, natural resources, and entire populations. It seeks to control the air by regulation of carbon emissions, the ground by sustainable development, and the sea through environmental regulations. Officially stated, Agenda 21 is a comprehensive plan of action to be taken globally,
What the hell?
nationally, and locally by
What's Chet Hayes have to do with this?
Cheeseball son Chet, who makes sure he does it on
To think about this, both Tom Hanks,
What's Tom Hanks is part of this?
they're not entertainment. They're, you know, you make a mistake of thinking that you go to the movies. It's like Disney. It's not entertainment. It's programming.
This is like the ultimate like crazy board.
It's their black magic.
Tom Hanks, Bill
It's
Gates.
all their
Who else?
And Madonna also has
Madonna.
a typewriter. I mean, you can't.
You see it?
Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. I mean,
What?
right, they both.
Oh,
you have
Corona
both
typewriter. It was there all along.
Tom Hanks. I just want folks to think about this. Both Tom Hanks and
Oh
Madonna
my
travel around the world.
Do you
with
actually
Corona
believe this?
Typewriters, just
Withy?
because they like them. I mean.
Oh wait,
that's
is something going on now? Hidden in plain sight, indeed. Oh yes, that guy's wearing a mask. We also have fridges full of Corona beer. I had Corona beer. Withy, do you actually believe this? You don't believe this. The conspiracy theorists are going crazy, though, huh?
Anybody would.
I mean, if I was a conspiracy theorist, this would definitely, like, be the ultimate proof of everything. I believe the interviews happened. What
Right,
interviews?
And whenever we first found out about Tom Hanks and his wife with Corona, who told us their, cheeseball son Chet, who makes sure he does it on Instagram without a freaking shirt on, and I showed the people a month ago.
Oh,
I said,
shit!
Look at this guy's new tattoo. We talked about it a month ago. Now here it is.
Busted, exposed.
20 million views that thing's had now, because that kid is putting that symbol into everybody's mind, and he's associating it with the C virus. So
It's also linked with the. Why am I 10 times louder than the video? I don't know. Am I?
then we put that with the 33.
I don't think so. Oh, maybe because I'm yelling?
No, it's not telling us where it's all going to go.
Is this
It's
better?
showing us that this is a coordinated effort, right?
Yeah.
I'm really bad with sound,
And
guys.
again, I'll say this. I mean, I can go on all night with the predictive programming, martial law, and complete takeover of and destruction of freedom of speech, and Orwellian sort of spy system that they're establishing.
It's super echoey.
Than I am of any sort of virus, right? Like I think it's all a scapegoat for bringing in all
More
the
echoey
things that
than
they're
new.
trying to do.
More echoey than normal. I wonder why that is. Let me see. Maybe I'm. Something's weird about this. No, I mean it should be right. Do I think conspiracy theorists are also anti-vaxxers? Yes, I do. But I mean, it's sort of anti-vaxxing and conspiracy theorists comes from the same. Can be inspired by similar impulses of distrusting authority, of being skeptical of any wide-ranging efforts at centralized power or knowledge production. So I think when the vaccine comes out, it's going to be a huge shit show. I think that people, it just hits at every hot spot right now of government, science, personal responsibility versus collective responsibility, inequality, right? Like who's going to get it, who's not, who's going to get which kinds. I want them to do an investigation of what anti-vaxxers think of COVID. I bet we could find out who's like a popular anti-vaxxer. It's hard to find because I feel like they censor them a lot, right? Does anybody know? Oh, here we go. Does anyone know a good anti-vaxxer? Video on anti-vaxxers. Okay. Yesterday's this is the first conference in about 3 days, but the last one was very short. Did you guys see this? This was the big thing. Trump retweeted a tweet that said "Fire Fauci," although Fauci's there. Look at this. Oh, there he is. Can't find it.
Thank you very much.
Check out this tweet.
Before I begin, I'd like to offer my condolences and best wishes to the people all across our great South who have endured deadly tornadoes and other severe weather in Texas,
He's getting fed up with Fauci.
Mississippi, Alabama,
Fauci
Florida,
is,
Georgia, Tennessee, and South Carolina. My administration will do everything possible to help those communities get back on their feet. We're speaking with their governors and representatives. FEMA's already on its way, and they got there as soon as we heard the word. I said, get out there. So FEMA's there, and you know the great job that FEMA does. It's really something very special. So we just want to say warmest condolences, and we're with you all the way. It's a tough deal. That was a bad level 5. That was a bad group. That's as high as it gets. It was a bad grouping of tornadoes, something that's something incredible. The power, the horrible, destructive power. America is continuing to make critical progress in our war against the virus. Over the weekend, the number of daily new infections remained flat, nationwide flat. Hospitalizations are slowing in hotspots like New York, New Jersey, Michigan, and Louisiana. This is clear evidence that our aggressive strategy to combat the virus is working and that Americans are following the guidelines. It's been incredible what they've done. You looked at the charts, and the charts are, and the models from early on predictions where 100 and 120,000 people looked like if they did well, they were going to unfortunately perish. And we're going to be hopefully way, way below that number. So that will be a sign of people doing things right, but it's still just a horrible thing all over the world. 184 countries. This is all a tribute to our wonderful healthcare advisors and experts who have been with us right from the beginning. We appreciate it so much. In fact, Dr. Fauci's here. Maybe I could ask Tony to say a few words before we go any further. Thank you very much. Tony, please.
See, he's bringing him up to show that they're not on the outs.
Mr. President, just a couple of things, and then I would just want to make a comment about something that happened yesterday. You're going to hear from Dr. Burke soon about the numbers that we've been talking about, how things are starting to balance off. And I think the more as we go by each day, I think we're going to see, and again, I never like to get ahead of myself or of Dr.
I wonder if
Burke's,
he's going to talk about it.
but it looks like even though we've had a really bad week last week, remember when I was speaking to you before, I was saying this was really a bad week. There's still going to be a lot of deaths, but we're starting to see in some areas now that kind of flattening, particularly in a place that was a hot spot like New York. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I had a really very, very productive conversation with the Congressional Black Caucus this morning. For about an hour, and
that's good.
They really wanted to know what exactly are we going to be doing in the immediate as well as the long range about the health disparities and the discrepancies both in infection and in poor outcome in the minorities in general, but specifically African American. And I mean, I made it very clear to them that what we have to do is focus on getting the resources where the vulnerable are to be able to get testing done, to be able to get the appropriate identification where proper and where appropriate to isolate and contact trace if we can, but also to help mitigate in a community that is suffering and suffering much more disproportionately. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. The other point I wanted to make is that I had an interview yesterday that I was asked a hypothetical question. And hypothetical questions sometimes can get you into some difficulty because it's what would have or could have. The nature of the hypothetical question was if,
He's
in
addressing
fact,
the tweet.
we had mitigated earlier, could lives have been saved? And the answer to my question was, as I always do, and I'm doing right now, perfectly honestly, say, yes. I mean, obviously, if mitigation helps, I've been up here many times telling you that mitigation works.
Yeah,
So if
Trump is
mitigation
really
works
mad.
and you instigate it and you initiate it earlier, you will probably have saved more lives.
He's trying to
If
save
you
his life right
initiated it later, you probably would have lost more lives.
Yo, Chef.
You initiated
this
at a
is
certain
tweet
time.
that he's addressing
That was
right now.
taken as a way that maybe somehow something was at fault here. So let me tell you from my experience, and I can only speak from my own experience, is that we had been talking before any meetings that we had about the pros and the cons, the effectiveness or not of strong mitigations. So discussions were going on mostly among the medical people about what that would mean.
Fauci furiously
The first
backtracking
and
right
only
now.
time that Dr. Birx and I went in and formally made a recommendation
Fauci.
to the president.
Well, he's trying to save his life right
to
now,
actually
you know.
have a, quote, shutdown in the sense of not really shutdown, but to really have strong
Where's the
mitigation.
interview? Did anyone see the interview?
We discussed it. Obviously, there would be concern by some that, in fact, that might have some negative consequences. Nonetheless, the president listened to the recommendation and went to the mitigation. The next second
This is what he says.
time that I went with Dr. Birx
Trump's not firing
into the president and said, 15 days are not enough. We need to go 30 days. Obviously, there were people who had a problem with that because of the potential secondary effects. Nonetheless, at that time, the president went with the health recommendations, and we extended it another 30 days. So I could only tell you what I know and what my recommendations were. But clearly, as happens all the time, there were interpretations of that response to a hypothetical question that I just thought it would be very nice for me to clarify because I didn't have the chance to clarify. Thank you.
The date on that.
Excuse me?
The date.
You know, to be honest with you, I don't even remember what the date was. But I can just tell you the first and only time that I went in and said we should do mitigation strongly, the response was, yes, we'll do it.
And what did you do? Is that the travel restrictions?
No, the travel restriction is separate. That was whether or not we wanted to go into a mitigation
Fauci
stage
isn't-
of 15 days of mitigation. The travel was another recommendation. When we went in and
You're
said,
going to become a
we
missing
probably should be
person.
doing
I mean,
that, and the answer was yes. And then another time was we should do it with Europe, and the answer was yes. And the next time we should do it with the UK, and the answer was yes.
In this interview, you said there was pushback.
Yeah.
Where did that pushback come
No,
from?
it wasn't, and that was the wrong choice of
What
words.
interview?
You know what it was?
Anyone
When
see
people
the interview?
discuss, not necessarily in front of the president, when people discuss,
I'm
they say,
spending
well, you know,
money. People are
this is
donating
going to
to
have
me.
maybe a harmful effect on this or on that. So it was a poor choice of words. There wasn't anybody saying, no, you shouldn't do that.
Are you doing this voluntarily, or did the
No,
president
I'm doing
or
it.
vice
Everything I do is voluntarily. Please, don't even imply that.
Blink twice.
So, Mr. President, the question by the way, the travel ban
Ooh, you got testy.
travel ban was not. And if you look at statistics, I happen to write a
Shit's
couple
blown
of
up.
them down.
We're
If you
fucked.
look at statistics,
Fauci's out.
so
They're just going to open
on
everything
January
up.
6th, that's long before the dates you're talking about, there were, CDC issued a travel notice
Oh, here's the
for
interview.
Wuhan, China, a notice, before there was even a confirmed case of the virus in the United States. That's on January 6th. This is all documented because we have so much fake news. I like to document that. January 6th, long
Oh
before
my
the dates we're talking
God.
about.
Dude,
CDC
this is
issued travel notice to Wuhan, for Wuhan. On January 11th, we have 0 cases.
That's the
in
interview
United
they're
States.
talking
0.
about, if
We don't have any
anyone's
cases.
interested.
So there are no cases
in the
reported that we know of. This is January 11th. The CDC issued a level 1 travel notice for health, while there were still no confirmed cases. So we had 0 cases. People want me to act. I'm supposed to close down the economy, the greatest economy in the history of the world, and we don't have 1 case confirmed in the United States. That's January 11th. On January 17th, the CDC began implementing public health entry screenings at 3 major U.S. airports that received the greatest volume of passengers from Wuhan at my instructions. There was not a single case of the coronavirus in the United States. So on January 17th, there wasn't a case, and the fake news is saying, oh, he didn't act fast enough. Well, you remember what happened. Because when I did act, I was criticized by Nancy Pelosi, by Sleepy Joe Biden. I was criticized by everybody. In fact, I was called xenophobic. I was asking Biden to please define that for me. I was called other things by Democrats and some others, not too many others, actually. So that, by the media, definitely. Now, on January 21st, this is long before the time we're talking, because when Tony's talking, I believe he's talking about the end of February. On January 21st, okay, still early, there was one case of the virus. At that time, we called it the Wuhan virus, right? Wuhan. There was one case in the whole United States. We had one case. This is all documented. It all comes from you. A lot of it comes from you people. On January 21st, the CDC activated an emergency operations center. There was just one case, one person. That's why that ad was such a phony. There was one person in the United States. You know, they use the ad, there's only one person. That statement was made at that time.
Yeah, there was one person because there were no tests.
In the whole United States, one case. I'm supposed to shut down the government, the biggest economy in the history of the world. Shut it down. We have one case. 7 cases were on January 31st. Now, on January 21st, there was a case. Not one person had died. You heard that, Steve, right? Not one person. So we have this massive country, the United States of America. We have the greatest economy in the world, bigger than China's by a lot, right? Because of what we've done over the last 3.5 years, prior to the virus, but including the virus. So we have the biggest economy, the greatest economy we've ever had, the highest employment numbers, the best employment numbers, best unemployment numbers also, the best of everything. So
Gotta watch this interview
on
after.
January 31st, think of it, not one person has died. Not one. Nobody died. Not one, John. I don't think you'll find any. This is reported by CDC, confirmed by the news, which doesn't mean anything to me because they don't tell the truth. But CDC reported January 31st, not one person has died, and I issued a travel restriction from China. Think of it. So nobody died.
This is going to be the whole thing now.
And I issued. You can't get earlier than that. So we have nobody died, and I said, China, you can't come in. I'm sorry. Because I saw what was going on. It wasn't so much what I was told. It was that I saw what was going on, and I didn't like it. But I didn't speak to Tony about it, didn't speak to very many people about it. I didn't like it. So what did I do? Ready? January 31st, in the United States, not one person had died because of the Wuhan virus. So I issued travel restrictions on that date, even though nobody died, and I got brutalized over it by the press because I was way too early. I shouldn't have done it. Brutalized by the press. But, you know, sort of I've been brutalized for the last 4 years. I used to do well before I decided to run for politics. But I guess I'm doing okay because, to the best of my knowledge, I'm the President of the United States, despite the things that are said. So then, first mandatory quarantine in more than 50 years, we did. First mandatory in 50 years. The same restrictions that the Democrats and the media called xenophobic. Now, Joe Biden said he's a racist. Called me a racist because I said, we're shutting down entry from China. We're shutting it down. He called me xenophobic, and he called me a racist and other things. Since then, on a Friday night 2 weeks ago, Joe Biden issued a statement. It wasn't him. He didn't write it. I'm sure he doesn't even know that it was issued. But the people from his campaign, who are smart,
Trump very
people that
feisty
write
today.
These little
This
PR
is a
releases are pretty smart. Reasonably good. Nothing bad,
feisty
but
press
they're not bad.
conference.
But they issued a statement saying that Joe Biden agrees that President Trump is right to close it down to China. Now, he did that. Now, he issued it on a Friday night. We've all heard about that, John, Friday nights, right? In fact, his was later Friday night than I ever released mine on Friday nights, okay? So he did it pretty late. I mean, you know, like at 11 o'clock in the evening or something. You know, it's pretty late. Anyway, So Joe Biden issued, and it's one of those things. But in February, Nancy Pelosi said we should come to Chinatown. This is late February. Come to Chinatown. We think it's very safe. Come here. Let's all have the big parade. China.
I heard China's getting
probably referring to San
getting
Francisco.
it again.
And that's it. But I took this action early, and so the story in the New York Times was a total fake. It's a fake newspaper, and they write fake. And someday, hopefully in 5 years when I'm not here, those papers are all going out of business because nobody's going to want to read them.
Oh my
But now they like them
God.
because they write about me.
Did you
now,
read
with that, I have
that?
a couple of interesting. We have a
New
few
York Times wrote a big expose
clips that we're just going to put up. We could turn the lights a little
About how
bit
they
lower. I
fucked
think
it
you'll
up.
find them interesting, and then we'll answer some questions.
this?
I'll ask you some questions because you're so guilty, but forget it. But most importantly, we're going to get back onto the reason we're here, which is the success we're having. Okay? Please, you could put it on.
People should be more concerned right now with the flu in this country.
A lot of people are concerned about the coronavirus because they're hearing a lot of news about it right now. But the reality is, comparing it to the flu, for example, it's not even close to being at that stage.
What if it is worse? Is this a moment where maybe countries put politics aside, a little bit of pride aside, and do we have U.S. officials, should U.S. professionals such as yourself get involved?
How worried should Americans be about coronavirus?
Coronavirus is not going to cause a major issue in the United States.
Oh my God.
Well, we've asked them to accelerate whatever they're doing in terms of a vaccine. We will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days. To unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort today, I am officially declaring a national emergency. Medicare patients can now visit any doctor by phone or video conference at no additional cost.
The first 1 million masks will be available immediately.
As there were more cases, and it was clear that it was spreading out of China, where it originated, the president took this move that he was widely criticized for by Democrats and even some Republicans at the time, which was he halted a number of flights from China into the U.S. The idea was to halt the spread of the disease, keep transmissions to a minimum. He was accused of xenophobia. He was accused of making a racist move. At the end of the day, it was probably effective because it did actually take a pretty aggressive measure against the spread of the virus.
This is still the press conference, yes. He's just playing a propaganda
His team
video.
is on it. They've been responsive late at night, early in the morning, and they've thus far been doing everything that they can do, and I want to say thank you, and I want to say that I appreciate it.
He returns calls. He reaches out. He's been proactive. We got that Mercy ship down here in Los Angeles. That was directly because he sent it down here. 2,000 medical units came to the state of California, these FMS, these field medical stations, and that's been very, very helpful.
The president has been outstanding through all this. The vice president's been outstanding. Members of the coronavirus task force, very responsive.
We had asked if we could have, New Jersey could have access to a piece of the beds that are on the USNS Comfort, and the president came back, called me a few minutes before I walked in here to say indeed they would grant that to New Jersey. So that's a big step for us in addition to all the other capacity. That news is literally hot off the press. And I thank the president and vice president who are on the call together.
Yeah.
President Trump approved
He's got all these people.
Arizona's request for presidential major.
He's got all these people in
disaster
basically in
declaration.
hostage situations
I want to
now.
thank the president for a quick turnaround. We requested this on a Wednesday, and we had approval by Saturday.
Like, you know, all these governors, especially Cuomo, is like privately just being like, "What the fuck?"
And responsiveness.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the president and the vice president for doing a really good job of communicating with all the governors.
They're like, "Please give us more ventilators."
So we could give you hundreds of clips like that from governors, including Democratic, or Democrat as I call them, governors, which is actually the correct term, We could give you hundreds of clips just like that. We have them. We didn't want this to go on too long, but I just want to say it's, it's very sad when people write false stories like, in that case, I guess it was gotten mostly from the New York Times, which is a highly, if you had libel laws, they would have been out of business even before they'll end up going out of business. So
he's really mad about this article.
We could have given, you saw the statements. We have hundreds of statements, hundreds
Same
of statements,
time,
including
two to
from
five.
Democrats and
You guys should read this article and
governors.
tell me what you think.
And if you look, they were all saying, we need
put it in chat.
ventilators, we need, you don't hear ventilators anymore. They have all the ventilators they need, which we were right about. We said, you're asking for too many, you don't need that. And in all fairness, these two people right here, Dr. Birx, Dr. Fauci, they said, I don't think they need that many ventilators. I said, I agree. At one point, and I'm not knocking New York for this, but they were asking, you remember, 40,000 ventilators. And that's more than they have all over the country. And we got them a lot of ventilators, and nobody's complained. We got them, as you know, beautiful. We built hospital rooms all over the country. The governor of Louisiana, John Bell Edwards, was very nice. He said, you know what, you don't have to build a second hospital. Because good news is happening. They're not able to fill the beds. They needed 2 hospitals. We built one. It was perfect. We're just starting the other. I called him up. I said, do you think we should build the second one? I don't think you're going to need it. He said, let me get back. He got back. We didn't need it. With Governor Cuomo, in all good spirit and faith, he wanted to have the Jacob Javits Center done. And we built 2,900 incredible beds, incredible. Then we made it COVID, or to be exactly
right.
accurate,
February was the lost
COVID-19.
month.
And, which was a lot of work. We had to change the duct work. We had to seal up certain areas.
The thing that happened was that Trump did act pretty quickly in doing the China ban, right? I think he did act quickly doing that. But then after that, he just was totally inept. And they didn't get testing available. They didn't get the stockpile in order. They weren't preparing people for what was going to happen while the virus just spread and went crazy. Like he did one thing right out of 90
when
things.
The Javits Center wasn't used much, and then, as you know, we took the Mercy and we took the Comfort, and we made them both Los Angeles and New York. We made them
Sorry, with you, I missed it. Yeah, I don't know.
Which was not easy to do.
What were you saying?
And we didn't get almost any people sent there. They didn't need them at the beginning because they didn't need it for anything but this, because there were fewer accidents, fewer motorcycles, fewer everything. And what we did was like an incredible job, but they didn't need them. It turned out they were there. We were ready. You know the expression, they have an expression, ready, willing, and able. We were ready, willing, and able. What the Army Corps of Engineers did was a miracle. What FEMA did was a miracle. What the doctors did. So I got a call 2 days ago from the mayor of New York. He said, could you help us even more with medical personnel? And we sent, I think it was 448 doctors, nurses, and respiratory experts, real experts. And I got a call from the mayor, and he said, I want to tell you, incredible, these people are incredible. He said they lifted the spirits of the hospital workers from New York.
They were treating foreigners and people coming from abroad pretty seriously, but they weren't doing anything about what was going on here.
People.
It was spreading a lot here.
And they're so brave, so incredible. They lifted the spirits of everybody. We did all of this work, but when you read the phony stories, nobody acknowledges this, and it doesn't have to be acknowledged from my standpoint. But it does have to be acknowledged from the great work that these doctors, nurses, the Army Corps of Engineers, FEMA, all.
He basically treated it purely as a foreign threat that we needed to protect ourselves from.
You take a look at what's happened. Nobody's asking for ventilators.
Exactly.
Except outside of our country. Outside of our country, they're calling me, every country, they're calling me, so many countries, and I'm going to try and help them because we have thousands of ventilators being built. But nobody's asking for ventilators. Nobody's asking for beds because we built hospitals. I think we built 20,000 beds in a period of a couple of weeks. The job they've done is incredible. With all of that being said, I'm getting along very well with the governors. And if I wouldn't, Mike Pence had a call today with the governors, and it was like a 10. I said, how was it? He said, it's a 10. He used one of my expressions. He said it was like a 10. And I'm sure you people were probably on the call, although you weren't supposed to be. But you were sitting in somebody's office listening to it, because every time we have these, and you would know that for weeks those calls have been very good. But there wasn't a raised voice. There wasn't even a statement of, like, we think you should do this or that. I heard it was like just a perfect phone call. It might not be reported that way. They'll say, I thought that somebody maybe slightly raised, didn't even raise a voice. My only point of saying this, because I want to get back to why we're here. The press has not treated these incredible people who've done such a great job. They haven't treated them fairly. They're way off. We were way ahead of schedule. And remember this, because the Times story was a fake, but remember this, everything we did, I was criticized because I was too early. If I waited longer, you would have been criticized. If I went way early, if I went 3 months earlier, I would have been criticized for being way too early. So with all of that being said, we understand it. I think I've educated a lot of people as to the press. And I would love to be able to say that we have a very honest press.
With each
Honestly, John,
that's like a horror
I would
movie
be more
right
proud
there.
of if the press would work. And I don't mind being criticized, but not when they're wrong. Not when people have done a great job. Yes?
Can I ask you about the video? Because I've never seen a video like that played in this room. It looks a bit like a campaign ad. Who produced that video for you?
That was done by a group in the office, and it was done we just put some clips together. I could give you, I'll bet you I have over 100 more clips, even better than them. They were just pieced together over the last 2 hours. That was just, we are far better than that. That's nothing compared to some of
This
them.
was produced here in the White House.
Yeah,
by,
this was done by Dan and a group of people, and they just put it together in a period of probably less than 2 hours.
Why do you feel need to do that?
Because we're getting fake news, and I like to have it corrected. They're saying what a great job we're doing, and the media, these are the governors of California, governor of New Jersey, governor of New York. Look, in New York, we work very close with Andrew. In New York, ventilators were going to be a problem. They didn't have a problem. We got
Almost gotta come
tremendous
out and
numbers
stop
of
this. He's gotta
thousands,
say
but
what's
we got
really
a
going
tremendous number of ventilators. You don't hear ventilators are a problem. Beds were going to be a problem. I mean, I'm happy about it. The Javits Center, which is incredible, is almost empty because they don't need them. That's good news, not bad news. I'm not saying, gee, I wish more people were there. I don't want more people there. We brought in the boat. We brought in the Comfort. And the Comfort was originally not supposed to be for this at all. The coronavirus was not supposed to be for that at all. They called, they said, could we have it? That was a number of weeks ago. We said, we don't think you need it, but if you need it, we'll do it. Then they said, could you get the medical personnel to run the Javits Center? Could you get the medical personnel to run the ship? We said, if it's necessary, we will, and we did. There were military personnel. That's the ones that Mayor de Blasio was so great to in terms of his statements. I mean, I really appreciated his statements. He was so impressed with them, and I am too. The level of genius and bravery, they're great people, the military people. And we pieced that together. I would say it took less than 2 hours. It was done in-house, Steve.
But just to be clear, this was produced by government employees, by people here at the White House, this campaign-style
I wouldn't
video
use the
here.
word produced. All they did was took some clips, and they just ran them for you. And the reason they did is to keep you honest. Now, I don't think that's going to work. It's not going to have any impact. But just think of it. You heard the clips. You heard what I said. They said, I acted late on closing down the country. Some people wish we never closed it down. Now, if we didn't, we would have lost hundreds of thousands of people. You know, interestingly, so I'm against it. We did the right thing. Everything we did was right. If we would have closed down...
Mistakes along the way here. You think everything you did was right?
Well, look, governors should have had ventilators. They chose not to have them. We were able to get them ventilators. You haven't heard, other than, there was a lot of panic, a lot of screaming. We want ventilators. They got the ventilators. You don't have that anymore. And the surge is supposed to be coming now. And if they do need ventilators, John, we've got almost 10,000 that are ready to rock. We have people standing with those ventilators right now. If you needed 2,000 in New York, which you don't, but if you did, we can have them here in less than 24 hours. We're ready to rock. This was a great military and beyond that operation. Let's get back to the regular. Well, shouldn't we get back to the regular? We can talk about this, but all I'm doing is this. I could have given you, like, those are 4 or 5 clips that we just played for you. I could have given you hundreds of people. I mean, Gavin was on television 2 days ago with one of your competitors singing praise. He says, look, you know, the question was asked in a negative way. He said, look, I know what you want me to say, but he's been really good. It's hard for me to say that. In fact, it's impossible for me to say. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California.
Did he say that?
I have many clips from I have some clips from Anthony that I didn't want to put up, which were really good. I think Anthony would be the first one to say, when I closed the country to China, when I closed the China ban, whatever you want to call it, Anthony said I saved a lot of lives by doing that. I mean, am I correct? I don't want to put words in Anthony's mouth, by the way, and I like him. Today I walk in, I hear I'm going to fire him. I'm not firing him. I think he's a wonderful guy.
Tweet something that said fire.
Fire Fauci.
I retweeted somebody. I don't know. They said fire. Doesn't matter.
You noticed that when you retweeted it?
Yeah, I notice everything.
So you retweeted it even though it said time to fire
No,
Fauci.
no, that's somebody's opinion. I know this is an opinion.
And you elevated
No,
it.
I was called about that. I said, I'm not firing. In fact, if you ask your friends in the office, in the public relations office, I was immediately called upon that. And I said, no, I like him. I think he's terrific.
Why did you do
Because
that?
this was a person's view. Not everybody's happy with Anthony. Not everybody's happy with everybody. But I will tell you, we have done a job the likes of which nobody's ever done. The mobilization, getting of equipment, all of the things we've done. Nobody's ever done a job like this. We have 50 governors and territories, by the way. People don't ever mention that. We have territories. We have 50 governors and territories. And many of those governors are Democrats. And they can't find anything to complain about. And honestly, many of them didn't do their jobs. I'll let you know someday. Let's see what happens. But I may let you know who's not doing their job. I can tell you the ones that are good, both Republican and Democrat, and the ones who don't know what they're doing. But we help some of the ones that don't know what they're doing. They should have had their own stockpiles. And now, if they want, we can build them stockpiles of ventilators. The hardest thing is a ventilator because it's expensive. It takes a while to get.
Nice,
We got 'em,
It's true.
And nobody believed we did. Now, many of the governors were asking for far too many. And we said they were asking for
Dude.
far too many. We talked and we said, you said very strongly that they just don't need that many.
I'm getting mad now.
Deborah. So that's it. Steve, go ahead.
You and Dr. Fauci are on the same page.
Yeah, we have been from the beginning. I don't know what it is exactly, but
He's just
if
such
I
a
put somebody's
lying
opinion,
fucking
I don't
scumbag.
mind controversy. I think controversy is a good thing, not a bad thing. But I want it to be honest controversy. Now, when I got a call not very quickly, and nobody, saw that as being any big deal. They said, how are you doing with Dr. Fauci? I said, I'm doing great. And I didn't talk to Dr. Fauci even until we just got here. Dr. Fauci asked one of the people if he could get up and speak. And he did.
So he said
And
the
they
question-
totally misinterpreted him. I saw what they did.
Can I ask you, he said the question was hypothetical, but what he was just acknowledging is that lives would have been saved if the mitigation practices were put into place earlier. That seems obvious. Do you not agree with that?
Here's the thing. Now, what he really is saying, though, but
Hey,
how
Mountain
could you have
Dew.
done it? Look, I just went over stats with you, right here. How do you close it up? You have no deaths and no cases on January 11th. Doctor, would you recommend closing the United States of America? Oh, this must be terrible. How many cases do we have? None.
Okay.
How many deaths?
Nobody
do we
was
have?
talking about closing. I think his major downfall was not doing anything about testing.
This is 10 days before
We could have prevented having to close the entire country, I think.
I did the ban. I did a ban on China. You think that was easy? I then did a ban on Europe. And a lot of people said that
Right.
was an incredible thing.
If we had more tests, we could have either prevented the shutdown or made it a lot
Put it
shorter.
all up. The United States is very low, and per capita we're very low. We're doing very well. But how do you close up the United States of America? So on January 6th, no deaths.
Yeah.
On January 11th,
That's right.
no deaths. And no cases.
It's just infuriating.
On January 17th, no cases, no deaths. I'm supposed to close up the United States of America when I have no cases.
You didn't close it down in the middle of March. Should you have closed it down earlier?
I
That's
closed
the
down
question.
from
It's not
China.
about January.
Excuse me. I closed it down from China. And by the way, some people think I should have waited longer and maybe ridden it out. I disagree with them, okay? But it was thought of. I mean, that was an alternative. There are a lot of people that would have said, let's write it out. Now, I'll give you the the good news. If I would have done that, it would have been, I think, catastrophic. Because their numbers are, Anthony, 1.6 to 2.2 million people would have.
Most of the things he says are not outright lies, but he's creating
And I did
this
this last time.
totally distorted
Cut it in
version
half.
of the truth.
Don't say 2.2 million. Cut it in more than half. Say 1 million people died. Well, that's much more than the Civil War. Cut it in half. Take the million and cut it in half. That's 500,000 people would have died. Now, that number we would have reached, okay? That would have been easy to reach if we did nothing. So we did the right thing, and our timing was very good. But here's the one thing, and you have to say this. When you ask me, why didn't you do this? How come when I did the ban on China and instituted some very tough things, how come Nancy Pelosi, a month later, is in Chinatown saying, let's all march, this is not going to happen? How come we have many of the experts from CNN and many other networks, if you call CNN a network, I don't personally, but we have CNN, we have many other places, and they're all saying, he doesn't need to do it.
Here's what CNN put.
All I'm saying is this.
Here's the CNN
How
banner.
do you close down the greatest economy in the history of the world when on January 17th you have no cases and no death? When on January 21st,
Come on,
one
it's
case
true.
and no death. One case. Think of that. Now, we're supposed to close down the country, but here's what happened. When on January 31st, I instituted the ban, Joe Biden went crazy. He
Funny to
said, you
compare
don't need the ban. He didn't go crazy. Like, he didn't even know what the hell the ban was. So he didn't go crazy. But he did say, he did call me xenophobic. Wait a minute.
This
He
one is
called
a little
me
much.
xenophobic.
This one is a little.
He called me a racist because he
Not
has
as
since apologized and he said I did the right thing. So when you say, why didn't you this? Every Democrat thought I made a mistake when I did it. I saved tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of lives by putting
Time
it.
that you bought, the argument is that you bought yourself some time. You didn't use it to prepare hospitals. You didn't use it to ramp up testing.
Yeah,
Now,
she's right.
You're so disgraceful. It's so disgraceful the way you said it. Let me just listen.
She's making the point.
Over it.
Oops.
Supposed to make people
I just went
confident
over
in
it.
an unprecedented crisis.
Nobody thought we should do it. And when I did it,
But what did you do with the time that you bought?
you know
The
what
month
we
of
did?
This is the point.
You know what we did?
She's
What do you
fucking
do?
right.
What do you do when you have no case in the whole United
Oh
States?
my, he just can't
When
fucking.
excuse me.
He can't
You
even
reported
acknowledge
it.
reality.
0 cases, 0 deaths on January 17th.
February, the entire
January.
month of
I said in
February. Your video
January.
has a complete gap.
On
Month of
January
February.
30th.
What did the administration do in February by the time that your travel ban bought
A
you?
lot. A lot. And in fact, we'll give you a list. What we did, in fact, part of it was up there. We did a lot. Look. You know you're a fake. You know that. Your whole network, the way you cover it, is fake. And most of you, and not all of you, but the people are wise to you. That's why you have a lower approval rating than
There's
you've
no
ever had
point.
before.
There's no point to
Times
this,
Probably.
right?
And
There's absolutely no point.
Let me ask you this: Why did Biden apologize?
no point.
Why did he write a letter of apology?
This is the most pointless
No, that's
bullshit.
very important. Why did the Democrats think that I acted too quickly? You know why? Because they really thought that I acted too quickly. We have done a great job. Now, I could have kept it open.
Nobody's actually
And
watching
I
this
could
for
have done what
information.
some countries are doing. They're
Pure
getting
spectacle.
beat up pretty
He's gonna
badly.
call her a pig. I know,
could have
he's-
kept it open.
that's basically what
I
he's
thought
saying.
of keeping it open because nobody's ever heard of
I mean, it
closing
is
down
content.
a country, let alone the United States of America.
Well, fuck him.
But if I would have done that, we would have had hundreds of thousands of people that would right now be dead.
It's getting me
We've
mad. I
done
don't
this
usually get
right,
mad, but
and we really have done this right. The problem is the press doesn't cover it the way it should be. Go ahead. One more question, Steve. Go ahead.
There's a debate over what authority you have to order the country reopened. What authority do you
Well,
have?
I have the ultimate authority, but we're going to get into that in a minute. We're going to just finish this up. We're going to tell you about other things that we've done right. But I will say
Okay.
this. Had we said, let's just keep going and let's not do a closing, whether it's 2.2 that they at one point predicted as an outside or 1.6 at a lower number.
this is definitely the craziest one.
Cut it all the way down to 6 or 7 or 800,000. Take just a fraction of the number that could have happened. It literally would have been more than the Civil War. It would have been a disaster. So the minimum number was 100,000. And I feel pretty good that we're going to be substantially below, Anthony, the 100,000. And I hope we will. All right, so today, the Department of Health and Human Services is announcing 5 new contracts to procure large numbers of additional ventilators under the Defense Production Act, which we used a lot, by the way, which you didn't like to talk about, in addition to the 1,300 we received today. We received today 1,300 additional ventilators. Now, we're probably not going to need them, but we can add that to our stockpile, which is very big, and we can move it around should the surge take place and should it be a very substantial surge. We're ready to rock. The contracts are with General Electric, Hillrom, Medtronic, ResMed, and Vyaire, combined with the DPA contracts that we announced last week with General Motors and Philips, and 2 other contracts with Hamilton and Zoll. We're adding 6,190 ventilators to the strategic national stockpile, of which we have a lot already.
I mean, that's a fair point, Icicle Japan. It is kind of...
But this will be added by May 8th, another 29,000 by the end of May, and more than 120,000 total we will have by the end of the year. Now, we're going to help other countries. We're going to help states if they need it. We may help some states stockpile. You know, they're supposed to buy their own stockpile. They have state stockpiles. They're supposed to be using that. And unfortunately, most of the states weren't.
I mean, Trump
there,
loves
and a lot of people didn't want to talk about
Trump
it.
loves the postmortem, though, because he can just fight and make up shit.
At this point, I'm more focused on getting past this nightmare of a epidemic or a pandemic, anything you want to call it. We got to get past it. No one who has needed a ventilator has not gotten a ventilator. Think of that. You know, you heard all about ventilators. We need ventilators. Because they didn't have them, because the state should have had them. No one who has needed a ventilator has not gotten a ventilator. No one who has needed a hospital bed has been denied a hospital bed. That's not even really our responsibility.
Well, that's
now,
good.
If we can help, we're going to do it. But that's where the Army Corps of Engineers did such a great job. We built over 20,000 beds. In fact, we built thousands more than we've actually needed to be safe. We wanted to be safe, and they rose to this incredible occasion. I mean, we built more beds than we thought. We thought in Louisiana we were going heavy. And again, when I called the governor, I said, maybe we shouldn't build that second hospital because we don't want to build it if you don't need it. He called back. He said, I don't think we're going to need it. They had 1,000 rooms, 1,000 beds, and they used a lot of them, but they didn't need the other one, so we stopped it because we don't want to waste. But we're prepared to build thousands more should we need it. I don't think we're going to need it because it looks like we're plateauing and maybe even in many cases coming down. In addition, we've ordered a total of 60 mobile contamination systems. So the decontamination system from Bethel in Ohio is an incredible thing because it takes the masks and up to 20 times you can decontaminate a mask. And I've been asking from the beginning, why can't we sterilize or sanitize these masks? And it turned out we can. And there was a great company in Ohio. They sent us some great equipment, and they're doing that now. And now we're going to have more than 33 million N95 masks per week. Will be cleaned, decontaminated, and it'll be great. It's something that, frankly, I think people should have thought of a long time ago. 5 more flights landed today as part of the Project Airbridge, our massive airlift operation to bring personal protective equipment into the United States, which has now delivered nearly 500,000 N95 masks, 370 million gloves, 25 million surgical masks, and 4.9 million gowns. So we have millions of gowns, gloves, masks, all surgical equipment coming in should the states need it. Now, the states are supposed to be buying their own stuff, but should they need it, we are ready to give them because we're building up our stockpile again like crazy. Remember, I and you saw the stories, I inherited this administration, Mike, myself,
Here we go again.
the whole administration. We inherited a stockpile where the cupboards were bare. There was nothing. And I say it, and I'll say it again. Just like we didn't have ammunition, we didn't have medical supplies, we didn't have ventilators.
This is
we
the
didn't
greatest
have
hits
a lot
right
of things
now.
that should have been had, and you can read your own stories on that because you know what happened. They didn't want to spend the money, but we did. To date, we've facilitated the supply of more than 38 million N95 masks nationwide. This week, we'll be sending 2 million N95 masks to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The Vice President will go into more detail. He's got great detail on that, and I think it's a pretty amazing story. We have a lot of masks already in stock, and we have more coming. We're further expanding hospital surge capacity in key areas of the opening, and we have a portion of certain VA hospitals and non-veteran coronavirus patients, including at the East Orange, New Jersey Medical Center, as well as facilities in Manhattan and Brooklyn. They're ready, they're able, they're beautiful. Hopefully we won't need too many of them because, frankly, we built everything that the governors wanted, and in many cases it's too much. We told them it was too much, but we wanted to err on the side of caution. The United States has now conducted nearly 3 million tests for the virus. 3 million, the most of any nation. We are performing approximately 115,000 tests every single day, and our rate of testing is especially high in areas hardest hit by the virus. If you look, and that's really, and it's hit some areas, the virus very, very hard. For example, per capita testing in New York is higher than the rest of the world. The NIH, CDC, and FDA are also currently validating several antibody tests that will allow us to determine whether someone has already had the virus and potentially become immune to infection. We're looking at that. The antibody tests are going to be very interesting over the next short while. A lot of things are being developed as we speak. In the race to develop effective treatments, the drug company Gilead announced that its drug remdesivir has shown promising results, very promising, in compassionate use settings. In addition, the FDA has just granted emergency use authorization for a device that removes certain proteins from the bloodstream, possibly preventing a patient's immune system from overreacting to the virus and damaging vital organs, which is a big problem. Furthermore, over the last 7 days, my administration has deployed roughly 28 million doses of hydroxychloroquine from our national stockpile. We have millions of doses that we bought, and many people are using it all over the country. And just recently, a friend of mine told me he got better because of the use of that drug. So who knows? And you combine it with Z-Pak, you combine it with zinc, depending on your doctor's recommendation, and it's having some very good results, I'll tell you. Think if anybody recommended it other than me, it would be used all over the place, to be honest with you. I think the fact that I recommended it, I probably set it back a lot. But it's a lot of good things are happening with it, a lot of good tests. Scientists are also pursuing a blood therapy known as convalescent plasma. Convalescent plasma. This therapy uses antibodies from the blood of recovered patients to treat those who are sick. And this is something that actually is a very old procedure, but it's done in a very modern way. During this difficult time, we're also working to ensure that the 2020 census is completed safely and accurately. We may be asking for an extension because obviously they can't be doing very much right now. They wouldn't even be allowed to do it. So the census, we're going to be asking for a delay, a major delay. I think, how can you possibly be knocking on doors?
My sister was going to work for the census, but she can't do that now.
The Census Bureau recently made the decision to temporarily suspend its field operation data collection activities to help stop the spread. In addition, while millions of Americans continue to complete their questions online,
absolutely not. Large, I do not trust Trump at all.
Extension. I don't know that you even have to ask him. This is called.
Does anybody trust him? Do even his supporters trust him?
A situation that has to be. They have to give, and I think 120 days isn't nearly enough. My administration is also taking bold action to help American workers. On Friday, Americans began receiving the cash payments authorized by a historic $2 trillion relief bill.
I think people trust him. I think his supporters probably trust him to do what they think is best for the country, but they don't trust him in terms of the idea that he would say anything
directly into the banks and the bank accounts of these people. Millions of additional payments will follow. The typical family of four will receive $3,400. That's for a family of four. That's something. Additionally, through our Paycheck Protection Program, which is a tremendous success, and they should extend it and increase it. This has been a tremendous success. So successful that the banks are taking a little bit longer to distribute the money, but it's going rapidly. We've now processed over $200 billion in loans to help small businesses retain their workers. Now we urgently need lawmakers to set aside the partisan agendas and to replenish this program with new funds, because it's really something that has been an incredible success. And they need more money to keep it going, to take care of these businesses and keep them open. I want to thank the many governors, health professionals, scientists, and business leaders for their incredible hard work and input over the past month, and even long beyond a month, Mike, I would say. You know, we've been working together with a lot of them for, it seems like, forever. I've been having many discussions with my team and top experts, and
when do
we're
I
very
think Trump
close
will
to
open their economy? I don't know.
open our country, hopefully
He's talking about
even
that now.
ahead of schedule. And that's
3
so
weeks.
important. We will soon finalize new and very important guidelines to give governors the information they need to start
that's not
safely
gonna
opening
happen.
their states. My administration's plan and corresponding guidelines will give the American people the confidence they need to begin returning to normal life. That's what we want. We want to have our country open. We want to return to normal life. Our country's going to be open, and it's going to be successfully opened. And we'll be explaining over a very short number of days exactly what is going to be. We've also, as you probably heard, developed a committee. We're actually calling it a number of committees with the most prominent people in the country, the most successful people in the various fields, and we'll be announcing them tomorrow. This weekend, the United States also helped facilitate an unprecedented agreement among the 23 nations of OPEC+. That's OPEC plus additional energy-producing nations, representing many of the world's largest oil-producing countries to stabilize oil markets. And we have, in fact, and I think you've seen a big stabilization over the last couple of days. Together, countries around the world will cut oil production by approximately 20 million barrels. People are saying 10 million, but we think...
Yeah, I don't think we'll get back to normal till a vaccine's ready either. I think we're gonna have sort of rolling, rolling things where it might get a little better. We can go back to sort of normal, and then we'll have to shut down again.
This historic action will help nearly 11 million American workers who are supported by the U.S. oil and gas industry. It's a very monumental agreement. I want to thank
I'll be right back in a
the
second.
King of Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, both. I want to thank President Putin of Russia, and I want to thank a very good friend of mine, man who's become a friend of mine. The President of Mexico showed great flexibility. President Lopez Obrador. He showed great flexibility and tremendous intelligence doing what he did. It was not that easy for him, and I want to thank Mexico and the President. This is a very historic deal, very historic, so we'll see how it all goes. In this time and challenge, and we are certainly in a time probably like we haven't been in many, many decades. We are strengthened and sustained by the bonds of love and loyalty that unite all Americans. I'm so proud of the American people. Everywhere you look, you see the patriotism of our people shining through, and the courage of our doctors and nurses on the front lines, in the dedication of our food supply workers, and in the commitment of every citizen to achieving victory over the virus. That's what's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner than people think, and we're going to be smart about it, very, very smart about it. We're going to be safe about it. We're going to be listening also to the great doctors and medical professionals. Together, we're beating back the invisible enemy, and we're paving the way for great resurgence, really a great resurgence for American prosperity. Our country wants to go back. They want to go back to work. They're going to go back safely, and that's what we want. I'd like now to ask Vice President Pence to say a few words, followed by Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx. I think before we do this, because I know there's an emergency where they want Steve to come, so what I'll do is I'll ask Steve to come up. Secretary of the Treasury, you can talk.
What happened?
I think before we do this, because I know there's an emergency where they want Steve to come, so what I'll do is I'll ask Steve to come up. Secretary of the Treasury, you can talk a little bit and then maybe take a couple of questions about what's happening. Tell them the success we're having. Thank you very much.
King Americans,
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President.
Wednesday. And we know how important that is to all of those hardworking Americans, many of which are at home not working at the moment. If you do not receive them by Wednesday, on Wednesday we will be launching at irs.gov. Click on irs.gov, go to get your payment. If you filed a tax return in 2018 and 19 or 19, have that information available. You'll be able to ID yourself. You'll be able to put in your direct deposit information, and within several days, we will automatically deposit the money into your account. We want to
What's
do
the
as much of
emergency?
this electronically as we can. It's very
What do you think the
important in this
emergency
day
was?
and age. It's more secure, and you don't have to go to the bank. If you are a Social Security beneficiary, you do not need to do anything. You will get a direct deposit. If you have not filed and did not need to file a 2018 and 19 return, you can go to irs.gov now and enter your information and authenticate yourself. So again, we are very pleased that that is ahead of schedule. I'd also like to announce the progress we're making on the new SBA program, the PPP. Let me just remind everybody, this is a brand new program that is now 1 week old. We have distributed and confirmed $230 billion of loans to over 4,600 lenders participating.
Anyone got their check yet?
Of anything that the SBA has ever done in 1 year before. And I especially want to thank the broad-based community banks that are participating. Again, over 4,600 banks. If you haven't had your loan processed, you will get it processed this week. As the president said, we've gone back to Congress and asked them for more money to make sure that every business has access to this. Let me also comment for the states. We are distributing out half the money this week to the states. That's a week ahead of time. And we'll deliver the other half of the money to the states next week. And then
I think we'll be like moderately open in 6 weeks with a lot of restrictions.
Facilities and new facilities.
But it'll also be different in every state and every city, I think. LA, we already extended ours till March 15th. I mean, or May 15th.
Mid-sized business.
That would be awesome if it ended May 15th. I don't think it's going to end May 15th. I think they'll extend it again.
In the shortages that they have. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions to Steve, please?
Secretary Mnuchin. Thank you, sir. Both Speaker Pelosi and Minority Leader Schumer have said that they're in negotiations with you right now on additional funding for these small business loans, that package. Leader McConnell, though, has said that nothing should be added to the package. That it should just be specific to small business loans. What is the opinion of your administration? Should there be some sort of horse trading here, or should it just be small business loans?
Well, the president's view and the vice president's, in my view, is this was a bipartisan program. This SBA program, it wasn't a Republican program, it wasn't a Democrat program, it was a bipartisan program. We've committed to small businesses. We should top up that program now. I know the Democrats want to talk about more money for hospitals and states. Right now, we're just sending the money out to the hospitals and states. They haven't come close to using that money. And I know the president and vice president have said, once we get the SBA done, we can go into another funding bill. The president's talked about potentially adding infrastructure and other things. We think there is a likelihood we will need more money, and we will sit down and try to get a bipartisan bill. But this is important we deliver on small businesses. 50% of the people work for small businesses.
Thank you, sir.
What's the emergency that the president said you had to go for?
Good question.
The president said you had an emergency negotiation over this bill?
Yeah, well, because we don't want to run out of money. We've used about $220 billion of the $350 billion. We don't want to run out of that money. We don't want to create panics that people won't get.
Here it is.
So that's why we want to top that up, and we've asked for another $250 billion for that program. And again, let me just remind you, every dollar we spend in this program, we save a dollar of unemployment insurance. So even though we're asking for $250 billion, it really won't cost that much.
Could I follow up?
Do you have concerns about lifting the guidelines too soon? I mean, what's the economic impact? I understand the economic.
I don't know. I like to just go under my real name.
What's the economic risk of lifting them too early and seeing then a spike in cases again?
Well, of course, there's economic risks in both directions. We reviewed with the president today a very broad list of over 100 business people that are going to help advise the president on what needs to be done to reopen the economy. We want to make sure, and again, the combination of economic impact payments, small business payments, enhanced unemployment insurance. The president made very clear we want to make sure that hardworking Americans have liquidity while we wait to reopen the government.
So do you believe the government should be reopened, or the country, excuse me, should be reopened on May 1?
I've had discussions with the president. I know he's considering it, and I believe he's going to make a decision later in the week.
Everything has to be safe.
What is your advice to the president?
My advice is as soon as it's ready to open and based upon the medical professionals, and again, we're working very closely with the president and outside business leaders to develop a plan.
I just wonder, I'd like to ask Mr. President, what do you think, if you could sketch for us what reopening the economy looks like? Do you think it's going to be everything open?
This is a good question.
Doing that over the next few days because we'll probably be making a statement about that and exactly what it looks like. I know what that looks like, but I also want to get the advice, in a sense. We have some of the.
I don't have channel art. No, I guess Clout will probably do it.
Council, we're actually setting up a number of different councils or committees, I guess you could call them.
Why? Do you have
a lot of smart
suggestion?
people. I think that they will give us some also good advice. But no, we want to be very, very safe. At the same time, we got to get our country open.
Yeah, and I understand that, Mr. President. Do you think there is a possibility then that what you do is you open it incrementally? Do you think people will go back to restaurants, to concerts, the cinema?
I do think so. Eventually they will. Yeah.
And let me ask one.
I think eventually they will.
Eventually they will. Okay.
And I think we're going to boom. I think we're going to.
The Budmaster. Why?
Our people want to get back to work, and I think.
Why do you want to be a mod?
Demand like there hasn't been in a long time, and that's why you see the stock market. I mean, to think that the stock market's at the level it is right now with.
I want to go to a bar.
And this country.
I want to go to a bar so bad.
European Union, how badly decimated.
I miss bars.
Look at other countries. Look at China, by the way. I've seen the numbers. Look at China. Look at how these countries have been just decimated by this. And to think that the stock market is at this tremendously high number, not that much, it was looking a little bleak for a while, but it hit a certain point and then started going up. I think that's a great tribute to the fact that there's a demand. Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you, sir. In regards to some of your tweets earlier today, and I think it was Steve's question, my question to you is what provision in the Constitution gives
Fox
the power to open or close state
Yeah, I should.
Numerous provisions.
Thank you. I should learn how to smoke weed. Lauren's always on my case to do that.
We'll be looking forward to that, sir. But following up, what happens if you say, for instance, we want states to reopen, but California or New York do not open? What would you do then?
I think everybody wants to open. I mean.
So can I just ask one other thing on the...
that could happen, but I don't think that would happen.
It's been states that have closed, ordered schools closed. It's been states that have ordered businesses like restaurants.
That's because
and
I let
bars
that
closed.
happen. Because I would have preferred that. I let that happen. But if I wanted to, I could have closed it up. But I let that happen. And
I get,
like the way they've done
Chef, I get too paranoid. I don't know.
Really
Weed makes me paranoid.
If you look
Makes
at
me
those
anxious.
states, they've really done a very good job. They're very much different from a New York or from other places where they've been hit very hard.
States and say, I order you to open your schools. I order you to force kids to be able to go.
Yes, Mr. President. Following up on that, there are two consortiums of states today. California, Oregon, Washington on the West Coast, northeastern states, totally representing about 100 million people who said they're going to cooperate and decide when to reopen.
Well, they can decide, but...
Does that undermine what you're trying to do?
No, not at all. Let me just tell you.
Okay, I'll try
I'm
it.
going to put it very simply. The President of the United States
That's
has
good,
the authority to do what the President has the authority to do, which is very powerful.
This is the Council on
United States
Reopen
calls the
America.
shots. If we weren't here for the states, you would have had a problem in this country like you've never seen before. We were here to back them up, and we've more than backed them up. We did a job that nobody ever thought was possible. It's a decision for the President of the United States. Now, with that being said, we're going to work with the states because it's very important. You have local governments; they're pinpointed. It's really, you talk about, it's like a micro.
Really, edibles?
They're pinpointed.
I find them to be more tolerable than smoking weed. I get too stoned when I smoke usually, but I can control the edible.
Go ahead, please.
So if some states refuse to reopen and you order them to, the 10th Amendment to the Constitution says all powers that don't reside in the President or the Congress reside in the states. How do you overcome that?
Well, if some states refuse to open, I would like to see that person run for election. They're going to open. They're going to all open.
The ballot box.
I think that's something that's not going to happen. They want to open. They have to open. They have to get open. Every one of those states, the people want to go and they want to. Now, some are in a different situation. You have, I won't name states now, but I will over the next 2 or 3 days. I'm going to be very specific. But you have some states where this is not the kind of a problem that it is in New York or Louisiana or Michigan or other places that got hit very hard. Illinois got hit very hard. But all states want to open, and they want to open as soon as possible.
Need
but
to train me to
they want to
smoke.
open safely,
Lauren?
and so do I. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, the French President Emmanuel Macron said that he will keep the shutdown in France till the middle of May. Does that mean that the U.S. will keep the ban
No,
on
France
flights
got hit
from
very
Europe?
hard. France got hit very hard, and again, he has to do what he has to do. He's a friend of mine.
Come on, we're not going.
But
We're not going
France,
up more.
Spain.
We're not coming out
decimated. You look
before
at what's
middle of
happened
May.
in Italy. It's a very well-known fact. What happened in Italy? No, they
Right?
were hit very hard.
Question for Secretary Mnuchin. Has everybody that you would like to have, the 100 business people on the Economic Council, have they all been invited already? Have they all agreed to
They
it?
haven't been invited yet. We just
Hank and Dink asked about why do weed smokers need to talk about their medicine. Chef 420. Lauren told me that she said I need to smoke every day for a year, and then I'll finally be a true smoker. Thanks for following Mountain Dew. Everybody, follow me on Twitch if you don't. I'm starting on Twitch on Wednesday. We're gonna go to the top. We're going to the top. Get hyped. Right here.
We put out a press release that
This guy's
we have
boring.
now had discussions.
Has Mnuchin
with
ever said
almost
anything
all the
interesting in
airlines.
these?
I've personally had discussions with all the major airline CEOs. We specifically created an exception for small airlines that we could process very quickly, and I think you'll see very
Thanks for the
quickly,
hopes, Mountain Dew.
decisions coming out. I'm very pleased with the discussions we've had.
We've had very good, really.
Yeah, you can just mute him. You can just mute him whenever he's on screen. Just be.
I want to say we have had discussion. Wait, excuse me one second.
He looks
We've
so
had very
boring.
good discussions with the airlines. Very good discussions.
Is it possible to reopen the economy on May the 1st?
I don't want to say that. We're hearing over the next few days.
Let me just
Do you
comment.
still
I'm gonna answer
see a
your
need for a
question.
phase 4? Is this push in lieu of another stimulus?
Okay, so again, let me just comment. I mean, Congress on a bipartisan basis approved an unprecedented amount of money to help American workers and American business because it was no fault of their own that business was closed down. We have been very diligently executing on that. You know, everybody said it was going to take months to get people money. We are executing very quickly. We created a whole new SBA program in a week. Our job right now is to execute the $2.3 billion, which we can add several $1 trillion with the Fed. The one area we are particularly concerned about is the small business program. Quite frankly, it's even more incredibly popular and successful.
Do I think Trump ever feels like a twat? Like, does he have the ability to feel like a twat? I cannot go into his mind. I mean, everything I've read that he's ever written, everything that he said suggests that he has zero self-awareness.
So phase 4, the president has talked about infrastructure for a long period of time. We've talked about, to the extent that the hospitals need more money because of the medical issues, we'll monitor that. We want to make sure there are incentives.
Officials EBZ, you see, he sounds self-aware and grounded. Give me one interview where he seems self-aware and grounded and insightful. I'd be curious. Maybe he just lost it over time. You know, he gave into the persona.
Mr. President, just to clarify your understanding of your authority vis-a-vis governors, just to be very specific. For instance, if a governor issued a stay-at-home order...
When you say my authority, the president's authority, not mine, because it's not me. This is, when somebody's the president of the United States, the authority is total.
He's 75. I mean, that's sort of mind-blowing.
It's total.
That's
The
mind-blowing.
governors know that.
So if a
The governors know that. Now, you have a couple of bands of excuse me. You have a couple...
Could you rescind that order?
You have a couple of bands of Democrat governors, but they will agree to it. They will agree to it. But the authority of the president.
I called him sexy? No, I
To do
didn't.
with the subject we're talking about is total.
Mr. Vice President, do you agree with that?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Mr. President's authority
One
is
of the
total?
things you,
Go
one of the
ahead,
things you, one of the things you spoke, we saw in your video about was the travel ban from Europe. As part of reopening America, do you want to reopen the borders so that people from Europe, from the UK,
At the right time. A very good question, actually. Well, I'm going to have to take a look. I wouldn't say Italy's doing great right now, and I wouldn't say Spain's doing great right now. And, we just heard that France is extending its stay inside order, right? They've extended it. I just see that.
I think he's
it's
stuck
a
here.
Short period of time, but no. When they're back, we want to do it very quickly, but we want to make sure everything's good. No, right now we have a very strong ban. We're going to keep it that way until they heal.
Weeks, months? What would you?
Well, I can't tell you that. I have to see how are they doing. I mean, France just went for another 2 days, for another 2 weeks. We have to see, John.
So Dr. Fauci said that you took his advice on the question of mitigation. He made the recommendation, you accepted it, you put it into place. As you make this next decision, which,
Well, I'm
as
not
you
sure
have said,
who, John. I'm not sure who really gave me advice on the ban. I think I took my own advice on the ban. I don't know.
The social distancing I'm talking about, the shutting down, not of travel, but of activity. So my question
I've
is,
been
as you make
sitting
this
too
next
much.
Decision, which you have said may be the most
I need a better
difficult and
chair.
important decision of your presidency. Will you assure the American people that you will again take the advice of the doctors, of Dr. Fauci, of Dr. Birx? Will you take the advice of the health experts before you
I
do
will,
that?
and many other people also. But I will absolutely take their advice.
Would you go
Please,
against their
ahead.
Would you go against their recommendation if they say you need another 15 or 30 days?
I don't think it would be
you-
likely because I think we're not very far from being on the same page. Please.
Yes, Mr. President, one thing that Governor Cuomo said today is that states do not have the capacity to do mass COVID-19
Yeah, I
testing
should.
ahead of a reopening.
Well, they have to do it.
I was sitting all weekend writing. Now I'm
Tests
sitting
or
more. I need
equipment
to
needs
go for a
federal
walk.
help. So
Well,
will the
they may
states
need
get
help,
that?
but
Will they get it?
But they're there. They're on ground. They've got local mayors, local representatives. They have people that do it.
Supplies.
And what we did last time is unprecedented. We literally rebuilt tests. We rebuilt a whole industry because we inherited nothing. What we inherited from the previous administration was totally broken.
Ha, yeah.
Somebody should
Official
eventually
EBZ,
say,
I feel
not
you.
only were the cupboards bare, as I say, but we inherited broken testing. Now we have great testing. I just left the top executives at Abbott. Who would have thought that would have happened, where they have such a great test as that? And in fact, what I'll do, I think, unless you have any further questions for the Secretary of the Treasury, do you have anybody for
this?
anybody? Is that for the Secretary of the Treasury or for me? Because if it's for me, we can wait.
For Secretary
We have to get him back to work, okay?
Yes, sir. For Secretary Mnuchin, a question from one of my colleagues who's not able to be in the room. They're curious about the SBA rule that prevents small casinos from getting some of this relief. Is that something that you're taking a look at? Is there going to be a change?
Who's going to think of the
No,
small
not
casinos?
small casinos, but there are such things as small taverns and restaurants that have literally, small gaming things, and we are coming out with some additional guidance on that. But I want to be clear, it's not small casinos.
Yo, Mocha.
Secretary,
Yes.
There was a letter that some House Republicans sent this weekend about liquidity for mortgage servicers.
This guy's boring.
Can you
This
explain
guy's
what you're
boring.
looking-
Scuff bassist. What's up? Why am I banned? What do you mean? I should be doing push-ups. This is Strange Days? I don't know, did you say something, I think you might have said something offensive, no?
We've said that to the extent they need certain authorities from the Treasury, we will accommodate that. So we're very aware of the issue. Quite frankly, we had been studying this issue way before COVID.
All right, I'll do a few.
We had concerns about some of these non-bank servicers not being well capitalized, but we're going to make sure that the market functions properly.
Thank you, sir.
Until
we have seen in a number of
Steve
these
Mnuchin
relief
is
bills
off
that Democrats
the
and
screen.
Republicans have been able to push forward different non-coronavirus specific funding.
I'll do it until
priorities.
Steve off, right?
Are you trying to keep funding specific to coronavirus, and then if there are going to be other additions, for instance, a change to labor rules is something that many on the left wanted. Some on the right are wondering if they should also, if you should also be pushing for, their preferred add-ons.
Well, I think our expectation has always been this is COVID related. Some people have a rather broad view of what COVID related is because it has impacted almost every single business. I mean, I think the president has talked about the Kennedy Center, which is a good institution. Obviously, that was not a major priority of the bill, but they were hit with COVID related. So, but no, the president has instructed, we want to be very specific in the next bill. It's COVID related items.
Well, we didn't want to do the Kennedy Center, just so you understand, and that was done, the Democrats wanted it in, we didn't want that, but they wanted it in, and we had to agree in order to get something done for the workers. But we want this to be for the workers and for companies that employ the workers. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for extraneous nonsense.
That you argued at the time that the China ban was being discussed, that was too disruptive to the global economy. Is that accurate?
Okay, well, let me be clear. I had nothing to do with the China ban. I wasn't on the task force at the time. I'm not even sure I was. I think I was traveling at the time, but I never.
I think I'm getting better.
I was not part. I did become
getting stronger.
Very active, and after the China ban, but that report in the New York Times was not accurate. I was not part of the task force at that time. And
I think that's why you were banned, Scuffed.
I think I may have been traveling.
This is a proposal, I believe, by Senator Hawley to get direct payments to employers to pay.
I don't know. Scuff basis, I don't think it was me then.
People on payroll. Does the administration support that proposal?
Well, again, that is the PPP. The PPP is basically sending money to small business, 50% of American workers, to keep those people.
Boring. Jeff 420, it's in my description. It's fun. I'm gonna have to get. Isn't it in my description? Look, donate. No pressure.
You know, I've talked to you about it. We have 40-year-old equipment in many of those systems. They're run by the state. But
Feels
I'm
good,
here
man.
getting the money.
I'm gonna start running this week, I think.
Some of them are, and some of the states aren't, and we encourage. We're working with the states to try to update their computers, but it's a long haul.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Phase 4, Steve. Phase 4. Come on, Steve.
A quick question about something you just said. You said when someone is president of the United States, their authority is total. That is not true. Who
Okay,
told
you know
that?
what we're going to do? We're going to write up papers on this. It's not going to be necessary because the governors need us one way or the other, because ultimately it comes with the federal government. That being said, we're getting along very well with the governors, and I feel very certain that there won't be a problem. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Yeah, that was.
Agreed that you have the
It was
authority
bad
to
shit.
decide when their state
It was disgusting. I was grossed out. Honestly, I have a high bar, but what the fuck?
has the total authority.
Enough, please.
You mentioned the vice president's call with the governors today. Governor Hogan of Maryland has urged your administration to ask Congress for $500 billion to help stabilize budgetary shortfalls created by coronavirus.
It's nice of Governor Hogan, very much. We appreciate Governor Hogan's statement.
Governor Cuomo said the CARES Act ignored state government
Cuomo.
revenue shortfalls. Do you support that request? And Mr.
Which
Vice
one?
President,
What did you say?
he
He's not
said
even
the
paying
CARES Act
attention.
Ignored the budgetary shortfalls.
Well, they're looking at things in phase 4 where they have,
Here's all
where they talk about states, and they're also talking about hospitals. They're talking about states who have been battered, and they're also talking about hospitals, and we're certainly willing to look at that.
Will you urge Congress on their behalf?
We'll see what we all come back with, but they are talking about states, and they're talking about hospitals. OAN.
Thank you, Mr. President.
OAN.
Governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, has on Thursday signed an executive order banning the sale of non-essential goods. If other states
The sale of what?
non-essential goods, she has banned the sale of non-essential goods. Many are calling this draconian, unconstitutional. As president, do you think that if other states were to follow her example in the coming weeks,
I missed that. What was
the
it?
government should intervene?
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's very extreme, but she's doing it, and I think it's going to be over a long way before we have to start thinking about it too much. It is strong. It's a very strong position to take. But they're making a lot of progress in Michigan.
Banning
so
sales of
let's see how it all works.
He's trying to get him to trash.
We're going to be talking about that very soon. I'm getting a full report. I'm not happy with the World Health Organization.
That's stupid
Not happy with
too.
the World Trade Organization either. We've been ripped off by everybody, and we have this.
Yo, chef.
For so many years.
Push-ups looking better, bro. Add this to the fashion-forward jeans you want.
Trade.
Then we can get you a Gucci headband and a Louis Man purse. Lauren will be so proud of you becoming a Twitch hype beast.
So we'll have a report.
APC jeans, here we come.
The World Trade Organization.
Thanks,
But
for
we've made
20.
a lot of progress there. We're now winning cases for the first time because they know I'll leave if we don't get treated fairly. This country, our country.
That's what I'm saving
is at
up
a
for.
point where we've rarely, if ever, won the lawsuits within the World Trade Organization. But now we're winning a lot of them because they know I'm not playing games. We will pull out if we have to. We just won a $7 billion
These
lawsuit.
guys. Oh. What the hell? Ah. What happened? Sorry, guys. What the heck? Sorry. My browser just crashed. It didn't want me to get those jeans either.
Yeah, please. Mr. President, actually, this is a question for Mr. Vice President. Do you agree with the President's statement and his understanding of federalism that his power is total, in the way that he described it? Is there anything you'd like to add or any context you'd like to add to the way he was discussing that?
I support the President's leadership on the National Emergency Declaration.
Hashtag jeans for Chen. Can we get it trending?
Today, the first time in American history.
All right, we're back.
When all 50 states have issued emergency declarations, and the territories. This is an unprecedented time in the life of the nation. And fortunately, as President's reflected and our health experts will continue.
Yes, thank you, Mountain Dew.
Because the
Twitch
American
Wednesday.
people the President's coronavirus guidelines.
We can talk a little bit about
because
Twitch after
state
this is done.
governors, have taken
I don't know where Cloud. I'm supposed to talk with
even
Cloud on
states
Tuesday.
where there was not a significant outbreak, and implemented additional measures as we provided them with data about cases and best practices. We're making real progress as a country.
Hence 2024.
But his
no
power is a
mistake
little
about
more
it.
circumscribed than total.
Well, make no mistake about it.
I mean, he's really
The long history of this
soft-spoken, huh?
The authority of the President of the United
Chad.
States during national emergencies is unquestionably plenary. You can look back through times of war and other national emergencies. And as the President said, we'll happily brief that. But in the days ahead, what the President has charged us to do is to work with our health experts. We're going to bring together an extraordinary group of American business leaders to counsel the President. And then working with the CDC, we're going to produce new guidelines based upon the data for every state and territory in this nation. We're going to give them guidance, and as the President's indicated, we'll continue to respect the leadership and partnership that we forge with every governor in America. But this is an unprecedented time. But I have to tell you,
Oh, here he goes.
Look at the fact, despite the heartbreaking loss of more than 22,000.
I have to tell you, we are doing
Look
an
at the fact
amazing
of
job.
What the health experts told us this could be. I think I only can feel a sense of gratitude to the American people.
Ah,
Gratitude to the
Pence.
extraordinary team that has counseled.
Come on, Pence is like worse
The policies that governors have implemented
than
all
Trump.
across America. I mean, we were discussing today at the task force that
Humble and
when you look at the
honest.
European Union as a whole, they have nearly 3 times the mortality rate that the United States of America has today. And that is a tribute to our extraordinary healthcare workers, their dedication, their tireless work. But it's also a tribute to the fact that the American people put into practice the mitigation efforts that the President counseled the nation to do on the advice of our best scientists now more than a month ago. And our hospitals were not overwhelmed, and are not overwhelmed at this hour.
Pence 2024.
And I have to
It's gonna be
tell you,
Trump.
standing here today, I couldn't be more proud.
That's too depressing to even think
stand
about.
alongside this president.
Too depressing to even think
and
about.
to be a part of this team that has
What?
served the American people during this.
Oh,
challenging
hell
time.
yeah.
And I just say to
We
you,
should put the rug down here.
to
My
everyone
rug's
who's
here.
gone,
I have a
as we
rug
see
in the room
numbers
now.
leveling and maybe even beginning to go down.
What?
I just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, because of the sacrifices that Americans and American families have made through these mitigation efforts.
Want
You're
to stay out of
saving
the
lives
stream,
and you're
babe?
seeing our nation through this time.
Sir, did the states tell you, you've been talking to the governors quite a bit, did those coalitions
He
of
doesn't wanna
states
say.
on the West Coast and in the Northeast,
He doesn't wanna.
did they tell you what they were going to be announcing before they announced
You guys want to see my rug?
Should
I put the rug down?
Governor Phil Murphy and the governor of Connecticut expressed today that they were going to be speaking on and discussing on
Jeff
a
420
regional
says Lauren
basis what their
2024.
recommendations would be. And we assured them
Tell us
today.
about that, though, sir.
We assured them today on our conference call with, I think, 48 governors that were with us today for the better part of an hour and a half. We told them that what the president would be.
He said she'd have to be
producing
responsible
is
for
directed to
3/4 of the world that
produce
she hates.
Additional guidelines
Not gonna
for
happen.
the states, certified by the CDC, that would inform those governors and local communities and mayors about the best way forward based on the unique circumstances that those states and those communities are facing. I think what's clear is the American
What?
people have seen the experience
That he
in
endorsed
Washington
Biden?
State, where this really all began for us, and in California, and now the extraordinary challenges in the greater New York City area, including New Jersey and Connecticut, challenges in New Orleans and Louisiana and Detroit,
Oh, yeah, I
still
see.
Chicago, parts of Houston. But they're also seeing that in each one of those cases, the mitigation efforts are
need you.
truly working. And so we'll work with those states, and in some cases, it'll make perfect sense for them to work together
Let you know ahead
on
of
a
time
regional
what they were
basis.
planning?
But the president will be, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Can you tell us, did they let you know?
You think cruises are finished forever?
I didn't hear you, I didn't hear
And
the
we would,
second.
and
I'm
we
sorry.
would like to have their cooperation, and we are going to have their cooperation. They will cooperate perfectly. Watch.
And let me just affirm what the president said. We heard it again today in what I think was our 9th conference call with governors. I think every American would be proud to see the partnership that this president has forged with governors across the country. I mean, it is an extraordinary statement, and you'll see some data when Admiral Polovchek gets up in just a few moments. But the flow of resources from around the world that we've moved into areas that face challenges. I mean, this president has
Lauren hate
directed
us,
us to
Jeff
ensure
420
that
says.
every state has what they need when they need it.
He
And
was
the
telling me
spirit
that I
I
have to
heard
learn how to smoke
again
weed.
from Republicans and Democrat governors today was reflective of that partnership. And as we move forward to the president's goal of reopening America, we expect the same kind of partnership in the interest of the nation.
All right, go ahead with the new face mask. Go ahead.
Sir, if you can hear me through the mask,
Barely.
Can you?
I hear you well.
The District of Columbia argues that they were shortchanged in the most recent funding bill because they were treated as a territory instead of as a state. Will that be made right in phase 4?
Well, we're looking at that, certainly.
Say it again?
He's horrible with it, but you're not. You
Mayor
need
seems to be
you need
very happy
indica.
with everything we've done. I mean,
Adrian gets
actually,
paranoid
she's
on
actually saying very
sativa.
good things.
I don't know. I should do a taste test probably.
Mr. President, you talked about this being the most difficult decision that you are going to have to take about whether
Wanna
to
hang out?
reopen the economy.
I don't know where
wonder
Beep
how much
is.
it weighs on your
No,
mind
he's
the
okay.
thought that if there is a second wave, you've reopened the economy and you might
Trump
have to
is
shut
talking.
things down
Okay,
again.
well.
It does. And
Sorry,
I hope
okay,
that
we'll
won't
stop.
happen. I certainly hope
You wanna
that
watch?
won't happen, but it does weigh on my mind. Okay, in the back, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Mr. President?
Go ahead.
Thank you. A question for one of my colleagues who wasn't able to be here. China deployed an aircraft carrier into the South China Sea this weekend amid claims by Chinese state media that COVID has reduced U.S. military readiness in the region. What kind of responses are you thinking of? Will you have a response to this action?
China has their own difficulties. We have a relationship with China that we're not happy with certain things that happened over the last period of time, as you know, and I've been very explicit on
Sorry.
that. But we know all about that, and no, China is, we've seen what they did. We've seen many other things that they've done, both pro and con, and we'll be just fine.
I mentioned something earlier where you said that you were putting together the economic task force and that you thought that the recommendations were happening earlier than expected. Did you mean to suggest that it could be before May 1st that you start recommending?
I don't want to say that, but we're going to be putting out guidelines and recommendations fairly quickly, in a few days.
You're not ruling out that it would be before
I'm
May
not going to
1st?
say, but look, certain states are doing very well. Certain big parts of the country are doing very well. They're doing really
I didn't get my
well.
check.
So
I didn't get my
we're
Trump
gonna put
bucks.
recommendations and
Did you?
guidelines very soon, Steve.
Your guidelines be.
You did.
They fit each area, or they be a uniform?
I should check the mail. I'll go check the mail. Maybe I got it.
Indication
Hold on.
that we know pretty much. We have some good ideas. I also do want to get.
You didn't get your check.
I want to have. We'll have video conference or at least a conference call with a lot of very good people having to do with certain fields, whether it's energy or whether it's entertainment and restaurants, et cetera, et cetera. We have to get people back into restaurants. We have to do what we have to do, whether it's deductibility or not. We'll see, but it should be deductibility. You'll get them back so fast. I mean, they used to have deductibility. The restaurant business, it was one of the hot businesses, and then they ended it a long time ago, many years ago. But we may need that to get people back into the restaurants. Please.
Yeah, Michelle Obama today got behind mail-in voting nationwide as a possible solution to what's been going on in the states. She said it shouldn't be a partisan issue. Have your advisors told you that that could save lives?
Well, absentee ballot are you talking about?
But on a massive scale because of the coronavirus.
Well, I don't know what she did. I mean, I didn't see that. When did that happen today?
Yeah, today. She's that's a nonpartisan group.
I wish her a lot of luck.
Labs, you said you had long.
Yes, Mr. President. There's a little bit of confusion about your phone calls yesterday with President Putin. The Kremlin is saying that you discussed current issues of ensuring strategic security. That wasn't referred to in the White House readout. Can you enlighten us?
We discussed many things. We did discuss China.
Oh, it was
We
direct
discussed,
deposit?
many different things, but it was primarily a call on
Do
the
you
oil.
think they
as you can
deposited
imagine.
it in my bank account?
And they were very helpful in getting a stabilization price, a stabilization
I don't know.
of the number of barrels. I
mean,
think the number is going to be closer
IRS.
to 20, maybe 15, but closer to 20 than it is going to be to 10.
I'm going to look.
And I think it was a very important call. I also spoke with the King of Saudi Arabia, and that was a very important call. And the bottom line is OPEC Plus. It's called OPEC Plus because there are other states, also other nations. We came to a very good agreement. Please. Go ahead.
What was the part about strategic security? Was that?
I would say mostly we were talking about China. We were talking about their borders.
I didn't get anything.
And we were talking about our borders a little bit, our borders with Mexico, because as you know, Mexico was a big part of the deal.
Nothing.
And Mexico, really, it was very complex from the standpoint of Mexico. It was not an easy deal for Mexico, and the president, we appreciated a certain amount of flexibility. But we talked about borders, we talked about China, talked about Mexico.
Oh, I know.
But
Sounds more
well,
like arms
I mean,
trade.
we did talk about the arms. Yes, we did. That was a very important part of the call, actually.
I don't think
Good
I've
point.
had a refund. I think I'll get a
Labs,
physical
you
one.
said testing is going
I haven't had a
great. We know
refund in a
that
long time.
these machines have been sent to some of the governors, but some of them are saying they don't have the materials to actually conduct
Well, they
the
have to get
tests.
the material. You know, the governors have to get the material. Now, if they can't get it, they're going to see us. I'm talking about the local.
Yeah, I've been
governments.
freelance
I'm
for
talking
too
about
long. I
governors
don't
have to
ever
the
get a
material.
refund.
Now, they have machines. In fact, we're going to go into. I asked Mike to go into it as soon as I leave. They have very powerful machines that they don't know they even have.
There's a website.
I'm not talking about Abbott. I'm talking about the governors. They have machines that are used for this. You know what I'm talking. You know what I'm referring to. Very big, very powerful machines. Where in a certain state's case, they're only using 10% of their capacity, and they didn't know it. That happens to be Illinois. John, please.
Real quick, these 15-minute tests that you've sent out, these new ones that you had in the Rose Garden, they say, including Governor Sununu in New Hampshire, that they don't have the cartridges to actually conduct the test. So when will they get those cartridges?
What do you think the answer to that is?
Rapidly increasing the numbers.
Rapidly increasing the numbers.
we look at
Rapidly increases, well, pretty quickly.
They can do 50,000
Well, you have other machines where they can really work. And a lot of the states have the big machines that can do a lot. They didn't even know they had them. They didn't even know that they had them. And Mike is going to be talking about that.
And you remember you mentioned several weeks ago the Google was putting together that website that would handle the
That never
driving
happened.
Google and Apple.
Have you
You mean
given up
Google
on
and Apple
Have
combination?
you
No,
moved past that?
A lot of
'Cause that-
people don't like it from the standpoint of constitutional rights. I mean, a lot of people don't like it, and some people think it's great. No, they are working on that, as I understand.
Testing website. Remember you said a
Yeah, no, I know
website
that.
for
I know.
Google,
I know.
and it's only operating in, I think, 5 counties in California right now.
No,
Is
Google's
that-
looking at it, but Google is also working with Apple or looking at something. We have the greatest companies in the world looking at things that in a year from now, everything that we're looking at now is going to be obsolete. That's how good it is. We have things happening that are unbelievable. I saw a presentation today that I can't talk about yet, but it's incredible. Plus, I think they're doing, Tony, I think they're doing very well on the vaccines. They're working hard on the vaccines, and I think you'll have an answer for vaccines. I believe that there's some great things coming out with respect to that. Now, you need a testing period, but you're going to have some great things. Please.
Sir, on the contact tracing that Google and Apple are doing, so different subject on the contact.
No, this is the Google and Apple. I don't know if it's a partnership or what, but they're working on some. They're working on more than one element. They're working on a couple of different things. Google and Apple.
Oh, here we
Google is
go.
also working on something, as you know, having to do with testing.
This is
I
from
believe they're
Lauren.
doing that in a singular fashion.
So my question is not about the drive-through testing website, not
It's a
that.
website.
On Google and Apple's contact tracing, that they want to,
No
they've got
filers,
this
interpayment
process now where they
here.
can put, contact tracing on your phone. If you opt in, you can be alerted if you've been in contact with someone with the coronavirus. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's an amazing thing, but a lot of people have some very big constitutional problems with it. You know that. It's an amazing thing.
Okay, I won't.
And it would
click on
be,
that.
actually, as you know, other countries are
No, but that's for
thinking
I
about
think
using
anybody
something similar, but not
who
as
they
good.
don't have
Other countries are thinking about something.
I hear
Filers
Singapore
can
is. Singapore is.
They may be
Singapore had a little bit of a setback because they had a break. You know that, but they'll take care of it. I know the folks in Singapore. They're doing a great job, and they're going to put it back very quickly. But Singapore and other countries are looking at other things, and some countries are doing other things.
So by mid-April, you can go on the IRS website and click a button, and it'll tell you your status.
No problem than a mechanical problem. But we will be making a determination on that. That's something we're going to be discussing with a lot of people over the next 4 weeks. That would be a
Yeah,
very
IRS
effective
is
way of doing
fine.
it, but a lot of people have a problem with it. Yeah,
But thank you for the
I have
heads
a
up.
testing
Matthew.
question, maybe for Dr. Fauci as well. Can you talk about where the antibody test is and how quickly
Well, it's
that
moving
will-
along. I think I can speak because I have to leave. Moving along quickly, moving along well. It's a test that's been going along for many, many years, except now we have very modern, very incredible versions of it. But that's moving along. The antibody test, moving along very well. Okay, any more COVID-19? COVID-19.
One soldier on the
Steve?
Theodore Roosevelt has died. Have you determined the status of Captain Crozier, the former?
Well, that's going through the Navy, as I understand it. The Navy is going to be making decisions on all of that. And they had a break-in. I don't think the ship should have been stopping in Vietnam when you have a pandemic, to be honest with you. I don't think the captain should have been writing letters. He's not Ernest Hemingway, as I said before, and he shouldn't have been writing letters. And I don't know who gave the orders to stop in Vietnam, but they stopped in Vietnam, and all of a sudden they get on, and now you have over 500 sailors and people on the ship that are affected. I don't know whose idea that was, but that wasn't such a good idea in the middle of a pandemic. Yes, please.
I have a question
John,
on.
go ahead.
Just one last on this question of constitutionality. I'm just wondering what changed your view because
Nothing changed it. No, I know exactly what you're going to say. Nothing changed it.
I don't think
the fact that I
don't
want to
think that's
rely
why.
on states, or maybe will, or maybe have, and the fact that we've gotten, that's one thing. The fact that I don't want to use the power is
Power of
another thing.
presence, right.
Look.
from the standpoint of the Constitution,
Yes, constitution.
you thought it should be up to the governors.
Constitutionally, you can look at constitutionally, you can look at federalism, you can look at it any different way. John, the fact that I don't want to exert my power is much different. We have the power. Does the federal government have the power? The federal government has absolute power. It has the power as to whether or not I'll use
sure they
that power,
did.
we'll see. I would rather, John, I would rather work with the states because I like going down to a local government. That's why with, I guess it's now 7 states, not 8, because South Carolina did, they went away from what we discussed the last time. So that's why I looked at the individual states. They're doing a very good job. They're really doing a very good job. I'd rather have them make the decision. Now, the fact that I'd rather have, that's fine, but I have the absolute right to do if I want to. I may not want to. We have a very
Chef,
good
you know a lot about
relationship,
this,
and
huh?
we'll see what happens. If you noticed the few states you're talking about, they're all with Democrat governors. But if governors are doing a good job and they control it better, because you don't have somebody in Washington saying, set up a testing site in the parking lot of a Walmart. And we're in Washington, and they're in a state that's very far away. That's really, it should be, and it should have always been, and I've always said it was. But the relationship we have now with the states and governors is very good. And we'll be announcing over the next
You're a
very
chef?
short period of time
Are you a
exactly what
chef?
we're going to be doing. Okay, a couple more. Go ahead.
On coronavirus and Joe Biden, he's the presumptive Democratic nominee. Do you have any plans yet on when you'll start sharing, or when the White House will start sharing some of that information about the coronavirus, your presidential
Well, nobody's
data?
called about coronavirus from their standpoint. Look, they had the H1N1, which is swine flu, and that was a big failure. That was a tremendous failure. They had a lot of failures, and you take a look at the history, and 17,000 people died, and you talk about late. They were so late. They were late like it never even existed. That was a big problem. Of course, a lot of other people a big problem too.
Chef
So
cooks with weed. But he's not a
if
chef.
Joe Biden would like a briefing, I'd certainly get him a briefing. I don't know what he'd do with it. Yeah, please.
Are Jared and Ivanka serving on the new task force, and how are you going to balance what?
No, they're not. No.
Why wasn't that a?
Yes, go ahead, please.
I just want to clarify, so in earlier conversation, there was a description of multiple different councils or task forces. Can you just explain exactly what the structure
Well, you
is and who
have
is going
Mike's
to be
task
on it?
force, which is the White House task force, which
It
really
showed them
us up to
on this
point
graphic
brilliantly, I
that
must
they
say.
were
Dealt
doing
with
it.
governors and dealt with governors all the way through, and I was on many of those calls, and every call got better and better and better. It was hostile at the beginning. By the time we finished, I mean, today's call was a very good call, very friendly call. I think everyone's online. And again, you don't have anybody driving you crazy saying they're
I mean,
not
this
getting
must be-
ventilators, they're not getting all of
I
the
guess it's
different
wrong.
things. They need more beds. They have a lot of beds right now. And we always erred, I think it's important for you to know, we always erred on the sake of give them more, even when we didn't think. We didn't think New York needed the beds that they were asking for. We didn't think they needed the ventilators that they asked for. And we were right. Now, on ventilators,
Yeah, I can't
we're
stand
ready
Jared.
to march. I told you
Can't-
this.
he's my
We're
least
ready to
favorite of
march
all of
with
these fuckers.
10,000 ventilators. We're ready to move them anywhere in the country where we need them, if we need them. We're also building a lot of ventilators, and that's
Invented
going
the
to be used
weedsicle.
at some
What's
point.
that?
We're going to have stockpiles, including state stockpiles, if they want to work out some kind of an arrangement with us. But we're also going to help other countries, whether it's Italy or Spain or France is having a big problem. They all desperately need, Germany too, they need ventilators. So we're going to have a lot of ventilators. We have a lot, you heard the numbers, we have a lot coming next week. Next week, we have a tremendous amount coming. Okay, final question, Steve.
I'd ask about how the task force is going to be structured. Is it one?
No, but then we have, in addition to that, we have a number of committees. We'll have a transportation committee. We're going to have a manufacturing committee. You'll see it tomorrow. We're also
God.
having a
He's
religious
on
leaders
this
committee.
so
We have a
long.
great
I
group of
hate him.
religious leaders.
I
We're having
hate him.
committees with religious leaders. You've been seeing what's going on at the churches and all of that. And we're going to have a
I know.
faith leaders.
It's like I'm more worn out watching him than he seems to be from talking this
few
whole time.
Committees, I'll call them committees, and then ultimately we're going to make decisions. So we're going to make decisions fairly quickly, and I think they're going to be the correct decision. I hope so, Steve.
Form the economic task force tomorrow. When do you want them to have recommendations?
Soon. And they already know what I want. And so when we form, when you say form, I don't have to give them instructions.
Poster
They're
boy
very
of
sophisticated people. These are
hell.
the best people in their fields. So I don't have to say, gee, we just
I
met
think that's the
and
main
we
reason I
needed
could never
2
be
weeks, and here's
a
what we're-"
politician. I like to
Say,
sleep too
"Here's what I
much.
want." We've already told them. And
When I'm 75, I'm
best
just gonna be
name in the
sitting
field
around
is
sleeping.
Businesses and professions and religions.
Reading.
I mean, these are the greatest names, the people that I think probably know the best. So we've called them, and we're going to be speaking to them very soon. And we want them to have, if it's questions or statements, we want them to have that for us. And we will have either a response or maybe, I mean, ideally, we're going to be learning from them, and we'll be able to do that and put them.
I love
put everything
sleeping.
we learned from those calls into our new guidelines. So we're going to have new guidelines coming soon. I think it's going to be very good. I think it's going to be very smooth, and I hope it's going to be very safe. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you. Stanley Shera is a friend of mine for a long time. He's a great real estate person.
Who's that?
Passed away, was a great real estate person. Great. Sort of a legend in New York real estate. He called me a couple of weeks ago, said he's tested positive. Stanley's in his early to mid 80s, I guess, and Stanley went to the hospital. And
He's
never
a
came
great
out.
guy, and
He
he's
went
been
into a
with me
coma.
from.
He was unconscious for a long period of time.
He was
and he
talking
never
about
made it.
him before, about him
Great
being in a
man. He left,
coma.
very charitable, really a great philanthropist, a very, very successful person in Manhattan in the real estate business. So I got to know him a lot. He was so excited when his friend from New York became the president of the United States. He was like a young boy. And he was not a young boy, but he was like a young boy. He was so excited. He thought we'd do such a good job, and he was so happy. And he was very proud of what we've done in this administration. But he was tested positive, and unfortunately, he didn't make it. To me, it's a very sad thing. Thank you all very much.
Woo! Wow.
Thank you, Mr. President.
There's gonna be still more? Fuck.
As the President mentioned, the task force today spoke to 48 of the nation's governors.
Hosting, thank you.
On that call,
Dear
we
viewers.
reflected on the fact that all 50 states had emergency declarations.
I don't know, I was
in
up
place
late
for
last
the
night. I'm a
first
little drained
for
right
American
now,
history.
to be honest.
$5.2 billion have been distributed to the states under the Stafford Act, and it was a productive call and reflective of President Trump's ongoing
Serial
direction
killer
for us to work
pens.
closely with the states to make sure the states in the areas most impacted
He's
by
gonna
the
put me to
coronavirus
sleep.
have what they need when they need it. We
This is
spoke
so
about
long.
the issue of testing and supplies, and I'm going to ask Dr. Deborah Birx to come forward, as well as Admiral Polovchek, to reflect on both of those topics for you. Dr. Birx has been leading an effort. for
Really?
task force
That's about how
early
long
on
they should be.
on
20 minutes.
rapidly expanding testing. It was.
All right, see you, the
early
Budmaster.
on, the President formed that
Come to
public-private
Twitch when I'm
partnership
here.
with
Come to Twitch.
Commercial labs, and as we stand here today, more than 2.5 million tests have been performed. And when we add in the estimates of labs that we have to assume with reasonable projections have not yet reported into the CDC, we think that number could be closer to 3 million tests.
Why did you get banned, Chef 420?
As has been mentioned,
Oh, Gary's girlfriend.
Test. We are working closely with Abbott Laboratories that the President and our team met with today here at the White House to rapidly increase the availability of cartridges. Abbott is producing roughly 50,000.
She had more viewers than him.
a
That's
day.
funny.
FEMA acquired an initial supply of that and distributed those to the states, but we're working with the states to
Kinda
not
hot.
only
Okay.
distribute what's being made, but also work with other suppliers to create additional cartridges. A point that I'll ask Dr. Birx to expand on in just a moment is the fact that beyond the new 15-minute test by Abbott Laboratories, beyond what we expect to be a new antibody test, which may well be approved by the FDA in just a matter of days. And an antibody test that would be produced at the rate of 20 million tests a month. The reality
Okay.
is
Mountain Dew, I'll try to do that.
those commercial laboratories that the President brought in here the better part of 2 months ago and initiated
People love talking about Raj
a
Patel.
public and private partnership with have been producing hundreds of thousands of tests every single week. But as Dr. Birx and our team have apprehended, we believe at this point in time that of the Roche equipment that is out there that does the high-speed testing, and we informed governors of this today, we think that that some 20% of that capacity is not being used. And with regard to the Abbott N2000,
Yeah, Scuff
we
Basis.
told governors today that we think 75.
I really want to get that antibody test. I think I might have had it. I was sick in February, and yeah, I saw that that quite a few people have had it now that they're doing the antibody testing.
Governors today.
Got to get
reach
that
out to
antibody
the
test.
hospitals, reach out to their labs to identify the presence of the Roche Amplicor 500 and the Abbott N2000.
You had it for
to get
sure?
Those activated. We literally estimate that although we're doing over 110,000 tests a day in the United States, that if our governors
This
and
was from a
state
few.
labs
I read
would
this a while
simply
ago.
activate the machines that are already there, we could double the amount of testing in the United States literally overnight. And so I know that governors' teams watch these briefings, and we'll remind them.
It
very
is ready. They're
respectfully
launching
again
it, but
to
they're just
identify those labs.
not
And we
everybody.
have a-
Not everybody can get it
We
though.
have a team that now is deploying, reaching out to labs to see if we can activate all of those labs. Secondly, on the subject of supplies, I've said it a couple of times from this podium today, but let me say it one more time.
Why don't you think it's
President
reliable?
Trump's direction to us in dealing with the states on personal protective equipment and ventilators has been to make sure the states have what they need when they need it. We recognize that while we all watch the overall curve of the coronavirus in America, understandably the national numbers, the reality is this outbreak has taken place in its own individual curves. First on the West Coast, then the New York City area, then Louisiana, Michigan, and now we continue to contend with it in
We are the best.
Chicago and
We
Houston
are the best.
and other metropolitan areas.
Ugh.
It has given us the opportunity to ensure
God, I just want to get
personal
outside.
protective
I just want
equipment and ventilators
to go in
are made
a
available
bar.
on a critical basis.
I want to go to a bar and a
and I
restaurant.
have to tell you, we're
Look at this.
incredibly proud of the effort and the partnership.
We're
with
still got-
states
we
that
still gotta
has
go.
us standing here today, that no one who has required a ventilator has
See,
been denied.
that's
a
why we're not
ventilator
going to be
in the
out
United
in
States of
a
America.
month. We're going to be like here in a
At this
month.
point, we have
We're still
just
going to have
short of,
1,000 people
7,000
dying every day.
Ventilators
if
in
we're
the
lucky.
Strategic National Stockpile, but as Admiral Polovchek will detail, we're already beginning to receive newly manufactured
Ooh,
ventilators.
Waffle House
We'll
would be
get another
good.
1,000
Lauren
in,
said she was going to make me
this
some
week. By the
waffles.
middle of May, we'll
I want
literally have
waffles.
another 8,000 ventilators available for deployment around the country. I'm going to let him describe to you the specific
People
detail
dying
of
doesn't
those
matter, just the
resources.
new cases and infections,
But,
really?
But I want to share these numbers, most especially for our healthcare workers around the country in the areas most impacted by the coronavirus, so that you know.
Here's the new
that
cases,
resources
though.
are surging into
Look
the
at the new
hospital
cases.
systems, at the point of the need.
We're
and we
still-
will continue to do just that. So let me recognize Dr. Burks to reflect on the data. And
I guess
also
we're like,
on maybe
we're
some
kind of holding
comments on
steady now.
testing. And then Admiral Polovchek, if you just step up, and then you'll.
But
start
China went
supplies.
down like
We'll hear from Dr. Fauci again.
in 30 days. Pretty good. But now they're going
Great.
back up again.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I don't know if we can get the first slide on cumulative cases. Yes, thank you so much. I wanted to show you a different way of looking at it today. Obviously, we look at case counts per 100,000 Americans in each of our states and metro areas. But I wanted you to see in absolute
Found do I have it? No.
numbers, how much the New York, New Jersey metro area dwarfs all other metro areas. And so you can't even see Chicago, Detroit, or Boston. All of
Yeah, she's
those
got a
metro
scarf.
areas are under 25,000 cases. You can see
Wow,
that
there's a
the
guy
New York,
selling
New
ice
Jersey
cream.
metro area.
There's a guy selling
is
ice cream
about
on the
almost
street. I would go get some, but
250,000
Lauren would
when you
kill
bring
me.
those cases together, almost a log more. And that's why you hear us talking a lot about
Ice
the
cream
metro
guy.
area of New York and New Jersey and the counties of Rockland and Westchester and Suffolk and Nassau.
Nah,
and
Lauren would kill me.
Bergen, New Jersey, and why we're so focused on getting resources to that metro area.
I want
can
ice
do the
cream
next
so
slide
bad.
then. So if I take New York and New Jersey metro area out, this
She
is
would-
the other
she would
metro
not.
areas that we have been
I don't know.
tracking very closely.
She's
I
really
wanted to show
scared.
this to you so you could see how those curves are already starting to plateau.
I have no sweets.
So if you look at Detroit, if you look at Philadelphia, if you look at Louisiana,
Get it in the bathroom.
Detroit.
Just eat it
is
secretly.
in gray. You can see across the board, across these metro areas, with have a higher concentration of individuals. This is what the American people in these large cities have done, where it is more difficult often to socially distant. And then we're just really impressed by the
With
work
the-
of the mayors and the governors.
Believe me, I think I could do it, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
You can clearly see Chicago and Boston. And so Chicago is in the orange and Boston is in the yellow. They're crossing Detroit. And that's why we have been very much focused on the needs of those areas. And there's one, and Providence is also in that category. It's difficult for you to see them because they're much further down on the slide. But the highest, if you look at the axis on this slide, it's 25,000. The axis on the last slide.
I can't. I don't want to start a fight.
And so that's why
I could.
really
Let me
want
ask
to
Lauren what she thinks.
understand each of these epidemics, minor,
Lauren.
these small epidemics in each of the metro areas, we're tracking independently, as well as any epidemics and outbreaks that are happening in some of our other states. So I just wanted you to have that perspective of how significant the New York, New Jersey issue is and why we've been tracking that so closely.
She said no.
But I also want to
Beta.
assure all the other states
Pussy
that
whipped.
we're tracking them
What am I
also
gonna say?
very closely and really working with the governors and mayors. And
They say-
across,
they say I'm
and that's why
pussy
I wanted
whipped.
to see that not only are the curves flattening in some of those major metropolitan areas, but they're starting to decrease. And this is what we're very excited about. These are
Come in and
cases.
tell them yourself.
We also know that mortality.
Come in and
will
tell them
rise,
yourself.
So we're really tracking also the number of individuals who have succumbed to the COVID-19.
Look, they're all trying to get me to
Also
go
wanted
secretly buy it
really
outside.
note Here
Well,
that,
you know
yes,
what? They
our
don't know a lot of stuff
mortality
about
is
what I
less
do
when
and
you
who I am.
combine European countries equal to the
No, all
size of the United
compromises.
States. And I think this is really two things. One, it's the incredible work of the American people, but it's also the incredible
I
work
would
of our
exit
healthcare providers
too,
and the
like-
system of each of these hospitals that have the resources and the ability to respond to the needs of the COVID-19
I'm
patients.
making a
And I-
big compromise for Adrian tonight. We're getting takeout. We're driving 45 minutes to a grocery store I don't want to go.
Not 45 minutes to Alhambra.
I guess there's no traffic.
15.
There's no traffic in.
Yeah, we're going to the Asian grocery store, and we're going to get noodles, dumplings. I'm gonna make Chinese food this week. We should do a cooking stream.
I'm gonna make Spanish.
How do you feel about a cooking stream?
They can see how filthy you are.
Yeah, it takes a little prep. I don't know. We'll see.
Getting 1 million tests out there to be utilized.
Cabbage?
And we can make
Should
1
I get
million
cabbage?
tests a week for all of our laboratories that
I
have
don't know.
platforms.
For
And
Chinese
so
food?
far to date, somewhere around 250,000 tests have been utilized in 3 weeks worth of work, and that's why we really
Do a farewell to Mixer with a cooking stream. That's kind of a good idea.
laboratory directors to really bring all those machines.
I'm moving to Twitch, you know?
Last week,
Yeah, I don't want them to see how disgusting it is. Incredible.
It's not that
It's not
gross.
decorated yet.
Oh, because it's not
Danny's
decorated?
coming over to install light
Roche and
fixtures.
Abbott high throughput
Who's Danny?
My guy.
To install light fixtures here?
Yeah.
research work to
Light fixtures are ugly.
Okay.
to supplement
Wow, we're doing Reno.
work to
Big
create
Reno.
a mosaic and a complete strategy that
You
brings
should do a
together
before and after of like Adrian Chen Bachelor to like
Okay.
what a designer can do.
Okay, so should we do a house tour? What if we do a house tour tomorrow?
Before and after. You could see Adrian's bachelor pad and then what happens when he has some help.
and we can get about 55,000 cartridges a day.
Okay.
But I just got done.
It's not a picture installer. We're having a electrician
Can run
to put in a
5,000
chandelier.
in a single time frame.
Lauren is
These assays together.
whipping this place into shape.
Has been created to call every single laboratory.
You no longer will have to look at this disgusting white background.
Yeah, then female-fied. Okay, we'll do it. We'll do a
It's
house.
not. It's not female-fied. I'm very like neutral.
Understands exactly everything that's
We'll do a house tour tomorrow.
But we have to understand everything in every state in order to be able to meet the needs of the American.
I think I need a break from this. Been too much coronavirus
that in 3 weeks
conferences.
from 300,000 tests total to 3 million tests.
You need Tylenol? Okay. Do you know what it's like to be with a rap star like Adrian?
That has been done really by HHS and Admiral Gerard and the team up there, and we're going to
Cook stream. I don't know.
supplement that team to really
Cook stream and house tour. I think I might just do the house tour, but maybe I'll do the cook stream.
just like we did with
You want me to make dinner tomorrow?
all of the capacity.
I don't. It's hard to do it on stream though with
What is it? No.
no cheese ons.
As these epidemics reside,
He had some plants.
You can also be able to use more
I have plants.
testing
What are
experiments,
cheesons?
But I do want to call out the 19 states that aren't ever represented in these graphics, and by and large, the states have been continuing to
What?
do containment and outbreak investigation. And I've been able to talk
I don't know.
I'm not a very good woman.
remind all
I have to be honest. Like,
Yeah, you
I'm
are.
not very feminine.
where they are finding outbreaks are.
But how can I
So we really knew to
No, but like how would I be able to cook?
Cushions.
Oh,
yeah,
cushions.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting some gender neutral cushions, and then I'm getting a piece of artwork.
Group where often now
Cacti and snake plants. I do have both cacti and snake plant.
You don't have a snake.
Oh no, I don't. What's a snake plant?
I had a snake plant.
People are
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna,
unaffected, and
That's cool.
yeah, we're gonna get that.
and so those are the ones.
I want a rubber tree.
Find them. You might say, well, how do you find them?
No.
Because they don't
Can't have that.
sense. And so this is where we really
You
have
can't
to
have that
do
tree.
surveillance.
Their cats are, I think they're poisonous.
And so we're really looking what are sentinel surveillance sites.
Really?
I think we
Cats
can
are.
see where there's
It's
outbreaks.
poisonous. Most plants are poisonous to cats.
Like this.
But we're going to do
That's
sentinel
poisonous to
surveillance so
cats.
that you find
Well, R.I.P. the cats.
No, they're not. You know that the kitten ate the plant and it died.
to really control the HIV/AIDS.
Look up the type of.
R.I.P. the cats.
Asymptomatic and treating
Look
them
up what?
asymptomatic. So this is
I think it's
something,
a like cats that's poisonous.
very closely with CDC and others on to make sure that we can bring that full capacity.
What do you want me to look up?
People. So these are just some.
What do you want me to
insights
look
on
up,
What we're
babe?
working on. We're continuing, obviously, to.
Cat did run away. I found him.
I found them.
And then finally, I'm going to call on
Want to sit
one
down?
additional group. There's a group out there
need to go send
of our HIV/AIDS.
I need to go send some
activists and
plants,
community
too.
workers that understand
Oh, really?
these tests that I've been talking about.
So you're saying that
These
this
RNA
there's this Picasso painting.
They will know how to
I think it's a rubber tree.
community about sampling and what it means to run those assays. They
We're
are
going off of
essentially
a
virologists.
rubber tree
They
and a cat?
understand all of these assays. They'll also understand the antibody assays because it's the antibody
I don't know.
assays that they counsel.
There's a
utilize
painting of
across the United States, and they
a rubber tree and a
Oh,
cat.
this.
translator to the American public and to their local mayors. They understand these tests.
Where's
They
the
are
cat?
essentially
No, it's not a cat. I want this tree.
technology, and I'm really asking all of them.
Why do you
to
think
help
that's a
us
rubber tree?
communicate
I think
what
it
these
is.
tests
It looks like a fiddle fig tree. Also, cat allergic to cats.
Because antibody tests measure something very
Yeah,
different
it does kind of look like.
than the viral load in the front of your nose that we're using for diagnosis.
I don't
Being able
really
to
like wall
understand all of
tapestry
those tests, when
very
to use
much.
them, how to use them, will be really
I'm
critical, but
making
the
one now. I'm making a really beautiful one for a client.
that understand these tests very well and will be able to discuss
Oh.
at that level with their community.
Do you want his cheese plate? His famous cheese plate?
I'm going to call Admiral
Oh.
Plutchik up in a minute, but I have to call on.
I do make a very good cheese plate.
Well, it's made by an artist, but I'm doing it so it's free floating on the wall. So I'm making this cleat, having the vendor make a cleat, so it's kind of like hanging on the wall perfectly, like a piece of artwork, like in medieval times. But another artist created it in her loom.
I can't wait to put my. She really is an interior designer. I can't wait to put my rug on down here. It's gonna look so nice.
You told them what I did? You told them what I did for a living?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah. Is that no one okay? Oh, he guessed. I don't think I did.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm a designer of.
Yeah, she's making this place look
home-
really good.
Home things.
Last week she said she was into interior design.
I am. Yeah. I do that in furniture design and product design.
Guest designer a while ago, but not what kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
I
place
do-
is. She's a really good designer.
Yeah,
she
I
has
am a
very good.
socialist.
Yeah. Oh yeah, remember socialist interior designer.
Well, this is what I grapple with in my career.
It is a little contradictory, but you gotta make a living. You know, there's no ethical.
I mean, I think that this is actually a bigger question about the educational system in the United States. Like, how many advisors do you have to have? Like, before people can tell you the reality of your career choices.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, nobody ever really told me what went in being an interior designer, what exactly I'd be doing, right? Like, I thought I was just going to be doing space planning and, like, making this, like, whole moment that people would, like, change their life and change the way they feel. Like, I'm really into design, like, how you interact with an object or how you interact with a space. But, like, nobody really told me what being a designer was.
You want to see? Chef wants to see the picture next to me. Okay. I don't think this is actually going to go in here, but
Yeah, this is not my artwork. This is
mine.
This is Adrian's.
this is from my grandmother.
I don't like it, but I'm compromising.
You don't like this?
Not really.
I think it's cool.
I don't love it. Or it's fine.
Don't love it.
It's fine. You can use it.
You don't love it. You don't love anything. You don't love anything.
I love the painting your aunt did.
Okay.
He hasn't.
Get a sword too. I have a cool.
I know.
cool
He
painting.
just wears a ninja mask and like, have all of his.
In your case, I should fly to Austin. Well, I'm not flying anywhere until this is over.
Why? See.
To see Paul. Get
Why?
a neon Budweiser sign. I don't know.
Why? Why would you go see Paul?
Well, I would like to see where he's up to. Oh shit, I gotta go soon. Wait, Lauren, what do you think about New York? What do you think about what? How can we get back to work? Go back to work when kids are out of school?
Yeah, it's a major problem. I think that's like the biggest problem. Like, as per usual, you know, it affects the marginalized communities the most.
Do I have a P.O. box? No, but I probably should get one, huh? So what, people can send me stuff? Oh.
I mean, I think this whole thing is just a shit show. But we are reading a book on the flu of 1918, and I watched American Experience about the flu of 1918, and it was really crazy how many similarities there were. I just don't think that like the world economy was set up like it is right now. So I think this one might be a little bit more devastating in terms of economic ramifications. But it was really good. I would watch it. It's good. It's on PBS.
American Experience. Check it out, guys. Okay, so I've only got 5 minutes. I have to do a Zoom call with my family. So I'm gonna go in a second, but
I gotta go email.
All right, bye. The briefing is still going on. I think so. Tomorrow, I guess I will. I'm gonna do a house tour tomorrow. I'll start off with that. I'll start off with the house tour. And yeah, Wednesday. Remember, follow me on Twitch. Bleak House, nice. Well, Mountain Dew, I think I might just skip it tomorrow, or only do part of it and just do the house tour. I think I need a break. I spent the whole weekend. Thank you, Mountain Dew. I spent the whole weekend actually watching all of these for this article I'm writing, and I don't know if I can watch any more. I think I need a break. So we'll do some IRL. I'll get my phone out and show you around my apartment. Is it getting spicy? It's pretty spicy. It's pretty spicy. I need to do one more bit on it. It was hard to write, honestly. Same time, guys. I'm doing it every time. 2 p.m. 2 to 5. Be here. That's when I'll be here. 2 to 5. And yeah, I'm going to be talking to Clout 10 tomorrow about the plan for Twitch. So I should know a little more about what's going on there. And yeah, I mean, I think when I'm on Twitch, I'm gonna be mainly doing news. You know, we're gonna be watching the news, talking about the news. But I think I just need a break tomorrow, especially since it's my last stream on Mixer tomorrow. Might as well mix it up a little, right? But thank you, Mountain Dew. There I am. Follow me. Also, join the Discord. Can you put the Discord link in here? I'm gonna try to use Discord a little more. What? What are you talking about? Pedo cord? No, it's not a pedo cord. It's a very wholesome Discord. Give what time? No, man, we're going straight to the top. Overnight success here. Did I... Chan, did you see when the minutes before Paul called you on stream? No, I didn't. What was it?
What? Okay.
Ice, you think summer fishing is hard? Try -15 ice fishing. Walking for half an hour to get to a rainbow trout lake.
Bro, I would not. I just wouldn't do that. If I lived in Canada, I would never go outside. Like you say, go try ice fishing. Like no, I don't want to try ice fishing. That sounds terrible. I'd rather go to the supermarket and just buy the fish. Why the hell would I want to do all that? Would you go ice fishing?
Yeah, I don't know what the
No, that sounds terrible, right?
This is not allowing me to just watch that clip, weirdly.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's why we in Texas, bro. We don't want to go Throw it my way, homie. Let's give this game a try. Hill.
Let me see.
I know, right?
Is it long? I don't know. I have to go soon.
Audio settings here. He has been streaming on Mixer a lot lately. I don't. By the way, is this his girlfriend? Because I don't know. My thing a little bit. I'm gonna be real with you, but
10K viewers.
I love you all.
You're giving the money away.
Thank you, Midge. I love you too, homie.
What's it in SNLPA?
SNLPA.
It's the it's not a high bar. Let's put it that way.
Okay, well.
Wait, what is he saying?
I can tell from the little I've seen.
What's not a high bar? Bro, Adrian Chen talking about how to be a streamer? What's he saying? Is he saying that streamers are dumb?
Exactly. He's not funny, but he is our best hope.
Yeah, but we're giving the money.
Let me tell you something, Adrian Chen.
It's just funny.
Being a fucking intellectual, smart streamer doesn't get you viewers, okay? Viewers want to watch people who are stupid, and that's a fact.
We are gonna give the money away. It's going like we're giving it away.
I mean, that's true. That's what I was saying. He was agreeing with me. Adrian's very
We're
much
both employed. There's no
intellect with
reason
no
for-
social skills.
That's true. That's true. That's why I love him.
Come on, I have
That's
social
what That's
skills.
what I saw on my first date with him. No, it's not charity. We're giving it away. What are you gonna give it to?
Yeah, charity streams separately. That's what we should raise money through charity, but like on a separate stream. This is like
if we're streaming and we're making money, we're giving it all away. We cannot keep the money.
Why not?
Because you don't deserve it. Because you don't deserve it. Because you don't deserve it. That's why.
Yeah, who's the we here?
Neither of us deserve.
She sounds, I don't know. I can't tell what it is. I think she's just jealous of him. Which is an unhealthy thing to be when you're dating the person.
We're
Okay.
both employed right now. Like, other people need it. There are
I
other
need money. I'm not
causes.
making money right now.
Bullshit. I call bullshit, and you know it.
I mean, no shade to Adrian, but I mean, how much? I mean, how many donations is he getting? Like, I mean, what are you gonna donate? I mean, like, what are you gonna donate to charity? Like, $10? I mean,
Damn. All right. This is just I know, $30. All this is just stealing my resolve. That's it. Just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Twitch.tv/Adrian Chen, Adrian_Chen. Going to the top. 1K viewers. When you get to the top of Twitch, he's gonna cry. I will, I'll shout him out when I'm at the peak. No, but I honestly have no idea how it's gonna go. But seriously, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna prepare. Yes, I need to do a bunch of editing, rehab on it. I guess there should be some art, right? I don't know. All this, I'm gonna talk to Clout tomorrow. Banner, your chat bots. Clout, if you're listening. Okay, I gotta go. But, thanks for hanging out, guys. Bye. Troll first and troll often. Peace out. Oh, you guys couldn't even see the video I was watching. Sorry about that. Anyway, it was funny. Bye.